but it's still I can see why there was hype for it.
Hey everybody.
Hey Lance.
Hi everybody. January 17th. Oh, what's going on here? Anyway,
Live already?
Apparently we're live already.
Yeah, we're live.
Apparently we're live.
Thanks for the notice. I'm glad I wasn't cussing up a storm.
Yeah. Let's do it
What the
live.
fuck, Lynch?
All right. So what's new in the world, gentlemen? What's going on? What's exciting? What's making everybody happy and what have you?
I'm pulling for your Vikings.
Yeah, that was some exciting football last weekend. I have to admit.
Well, I will talk about that in just a second, but
Fine. No one else is allowed to talk about the Vikings but you, Lance. Sorry.
No. I'll talk about that in just a second here. Robert Burke is supposedly going to join us, but apparently he hasn't figured out how to click on a link and join us.
Well, like I was saying earlier, I got to play Dinosaur Island and Terraforming Mars this week, and I have a Twilight Imperium 4 game set up for Saturday, so I'm actually getting some board gaming in amidst all of my VR gaming on my Oculus.
And apparently, Simon has ruined board games forever because they're making a board game called Hate.
I guess I haven't had any negative feedback sent my way yet.
Oh yeah,
It'll come.
I give it time. No,
they can hate it all they want.
Well, I mean, I guess like the idea is that I mean. Let's be straightforward here. I'm just going to say this. I mean, I'm not offended by any of it at all. I mean, it's just if you don't like it, don't watch it. You know, if you don't like it, don't play it. You know, I mean, that's just it's like there's no. I guess that's kind of like always been my attitude of when it comes to stuff like that. But I mean, the trailer is ridiculous. I mean, it's like
it does have an F-bomb in it.
Well, it has multiple
yes.
Well, in print because I was not listening to it; I was just watching.
No, I mean, and whatever. I mean, who cares, right? But I mean, it's dropping. It's dropping. It's dropping. It's. I mean, it's definitely. It's wearing its rated M. Proudly. So I mean, and that's, I mean, and okay, and then if somebody's gonna be offended by that, I guess I get that, right? But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, and this is gonna sound like I'm against it, so please don't take it like that. Anybody who's listening to this, and especially somebody whose paychecks come directly from Whom in Here Now. Not that you take offense to it, anyway. I don't believe, but so like. Did you ever watch? Did anybody ever like, watch? And these are real things. Like, when the Insane Clown Posse would have their things, their get-togethers, and like their Juggalo parties or whatever, in like some forest somewhere, and they'd have like this big giant, like basically they would. I can't even talk. Hey Joe. They would have like the big I forget what they were called, but like Jug Fest or something like that. But anyway, if you ever like if you go and you Google up the advertisements for it, I mean, just they're so like over the top ridiculous. It's like it's hard to really explain, but I mean, it was totally like that. It's like it's like. You gotta come, you gotta be here for the party. It's like you're gonna meet brand new friends. Yeah. It's like it's gonna be the most fucking amazing thing you've ever seen. You will probably get laid. It was like way over the top craziness. Like that kind of thing. And that's what I felt like I was like watching, like this guy, like movie voice guy, like just like trying to tell me about how effing amazing everything about the game was, and I was just kind of like, no, that's neither here nor there. Obviously, it's it's doing quite well, as far as the crowdfunding goes. So, I mean, you definitely reached an audience with it. I don't know. I find it. I've read some threads and stuff where people are questioning the method in which that it's being promoted and what have you. Mm-hmm. Which, blow it out your ass, I guess, is what a lot of people would probably say. No, I'm sure like the PC thing would be if it was questioned to, and I'm not asking you to chime in, Pete. I know you probably,
I'm not going to.
It's not even your thing. But I mean, I'm pretty sure the response from anybody in management there would be something along the lines of, well, we appreciate how you feel, and thank you for offering up your opinion. Good day.
There is a reason this project is not going to distribution. It is a Kickstarter exclusive because we knew that the content from the graphic novel series was very much in your face. This is what it is. You either enjoy it or you don't. And that's why we went with this model, which is the first time we've ever been completely 100% Kickstarter exclusive.
Well, while we are letting
retailers back it at their own choosing, this will not be, once this Kickstarter is over, you will not be able to get this game anywhere. And that's the
you won't sell it at conventions or anything?
This is a Kickstarter exclusive.
Like, seriously, you won't have it at conventions?
As far as I'm aware, it's Kickstarter exclusive, which means once this Kickstarter is over, we are going to print just enough for fulfillment and some, obviously extras just to make sure that we have everything covered as far as losses and damages and whatnot. But it is not being made available for distribution, and that was the final word I heard. So,
my thing is that I backed it just because I'm really impressed with the minis, and even if the game sucks, I really want to paint some of the minis. They have a lot of the same weird kind of Chaos Warrior, Warhammer, kind of feel and look to them, which is something I like. I like painting those types of things, and I'm right now actively looking for miniatures for my next campaign, which I'm not going to be able to run for a few years, obviously. But I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, I haven't read the rules or anything. It was just one of those things. We'll just back it, and then it looks neat. It looks cool. I guess I get why people might take umbrage to it, but I mean, it's just like nobody's making you pay the money.
We've come right out and said this is not for everyone. It's even in our text in there. This campaign is not for everyone, which is why we're doing it the way we're doing it. It's for those that are dedicated fans of the Adrian Smith graphic novel, the artwork. And
that's it. I love the graphic novel. The graphic novel, I don't know if you guys have read Hate, but it is it's like Savage sort of Conan, times 10 on the brutal scale. It would be my best way to describe it. And there's almost no narrative. It's just fantastic picture after fantastic picture.
Mixture.
Yeah, there you go. That too. Yeah. So but good for yous guys, as Keith would say. No, not Keith. As
Anthony.
As Barry would say. Where is Anthony? Is he going to be here tonight? I wonder.
Anthony.
I don't know. Yeah. So there's that then. So yeah, there was a football game. No, I was gonna talk about it if somebody wanted to talk about it, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to
Well, don't worry about
my opinion of football is as long as it's not the Patriots.
Yeah, don't worry about me. I'm in sales, not marketing, so I have nothing to do with our advertisement campaign or any of that. It's just my job to make sure that those retailers that want it get it. Other than that, that's my entire involvement with the campaign.
So
I actually watched that Vikings game.
Well, hold on one second. Before we talk about the Vikings game, I want to talk about one other thing. I want to talk about one other thing. So I finally I posted something on Facebook. Like when I drive my kids to school, I'm always listening to sports radio, K-Fan, and one of the sponsors of there is Firehouse Subs. Do you guys have a Firehouse Subs near
No, I
you?
saw this post. You talking about their charity thing?
Yeah. So I just want to talk about this. I want to say that I want to get open up a discussion about it because I wanted to get everybody, because I think this is brilliant as far as marketing goes. But so Firehouse Subs is like a chain of sub places. I've eaten there once ever, and it wasn't. I wasn't impressed with it. It was. Just
I'm not a fan either. Everyone raves about them, but I've never been impressed with them.
Yeah, I was. Maybe I've ordered the wrong thing, or I don't know. Who knows? But I was just like, that's fine, whatever. So their big thing is that it was started by firemen. That was the first. That's one of the big things about it. It's firemen got together and started it in its chain. And they support their local firehouses in whatever way. I don't know what it is. So the radio ad, I've heard a couple of them, and they all kind of say the same thing. It's like when you eat, they advertise their new sub, whichever it is. It's like right now you can get a double meatball sub, foot long for $6 or something, And then they say, and when you travel to Firehouse Subs, you are supporting your local firehouse because we donate a portion of all of our sales to I forget it is. It's something it's some charity that goes out for purchasing safety equipment for firemen. Okay, I guess that's ostensibly the idea of it, or something like that. And they said, we're donating a portion of our sales with a minimum donation of $1 million. Okay, cool. I mean, that's they don't have to do that at all, right? Okay, but the idea is that they're trying to convince people to come in and order food, and then whatever they eat, a portion of whatever they're paying is going to go to support their local firemen. Okay, fine, whatever, great, grand, awesome. The quick little disclaimer they say at the end is that they're donating 0.13% of whatever. I don't know if it's their total sales, or if it's their profits or whatever. So if it's 0.1, hey Robert, if it's 0.13%. I figured out it's they had to sell close to $800 million worth of subs to actually equal $1 million, and their last year's total earnings was something like 640 or 650 million. So they're just donating $1 million, right? I mean, that's all they're doing. They just say we're gonna. But the trick is that they're getting people to think that, oh, come in and you're actually giving money to your local fire station, but you're not. But it's brilliant marketing. I mean, and the thing is they're still donating $1 million. You can't really poo-poo them for that. But then if you think about it though, it's $1 million, right? So how many fire stations are there in the United States?
Oh, thousands, hundreds of thousands,
maybe 100,000.
So I mean, it's just so let's say it's 100,000. Let's just say it's that. So so every fire station is going to get $10.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm thinking of it the wrong way, but I mean, I don't know.
The money was to go to fire stations. That was the charity.
Well, no, it's Firehouse Subs. Did you have a Firehouse Subs near you, Robert?
Yeah, I like them.
Well, you're the one, but
I like the meat.
No, so yeah, but their big thing is they donate a portion of their proceeds, their sales to basically a charitable organization that purchases safety equipment for firemen. Okay, so and it's 0.13%, so it's they have to sell close to $800 million worth of subs to get more than $1 million, which is once again fine. They're still giving people $1 million, right? I mean, they don't have to give them anything, but I think the idea is that we're going to give $1 million, but there's going to be enough people that are going to come in and buy our subs, thinking that we're actually donating our money to the places. Whereas if nobody extra went into before that reason it would be the same amount of money regardless.
But in a way, everyone is donating though, because the success of the franchises would allow them to be able to donate that $1 million. So, in a roundabout way, people going to Firehouse and supporting them and allowing them to keep that net gain yearly going is allowing them to be able to afford to donate $1 million to the fire departments.
Interestingly enough, 58,000 firehouses in America, which seems really low. But
It does. But when you think about out west, there's lots of large areas that probably don't have a fire department with for 100 miles. So
aren't those places always on fire too?
Yes.
That's like when you say, what is it that, firefighters fight fire, and like crime fighters fight crime. What do freedom fighters fight?
Freedom isn't free. But yeah, no, I mean, the bottom line is they're donating $1 million. They're going to get their write-off. They're probably using this promotion to show that it's part of their net earnings, however they're doing it. It's probably tax reason the way they're doing it. But either way, they're donating money they don't have to donate. So good for them.
Yeah.
And good for those that want to support it.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I just those things I kept on, and I was like 0.13%. That's like, where do they even come up with that 0.13? I mean, it's such a weird number. I'm sure some bean counter somewhere like figured out, this is the way that we can donate.
Well, this is their safety net, right? Because if they say 1%, and all of a sudden they have a really good year and end up having to donate 3 or 4 million, maybe they weren't planning on it. By doing such a low percentage, they can guarantee they won't hit the threshold, and then just say $1 million minimum. It covers them both ways. Because if people started in droves coming and supporting them, all of a sudden that number could escalate if they went with like 1%, 2%, something crazy. So I get it, but it's like I said, it's still a good thing. There's so many bad things out there. This is a positive thing, no matter how you spin it.
Yeah. Hey everyone, it's Robert Burke of Robert Burke Games.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
You must. He said he normally. What happened? You normally have a gaming night on Wednesday, so tonight was like a moment you were available.
Yeah, it snowed here in North Carolina, and we're snowed in, which is rare here where I am. It happens maybe once a year if we're lucky.
Yep, I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, and we've got 4 or 5 inches of snow sitting outside, and I ain't going anywhere for a couple days.
Sweet.
You guys are so ridiculous.
Couple days.
A couple of days.
They don't salt the roads down here,
ridiculous.
man.
They cancel my kid's school. Like if it's too cold out, they would cancel school.
They canceled my daughter's school on Friday when it was 17 degrees for the chance that there may be ice on the roads when they drive home from school. Yeah. And they canceled the school on Tuesday, and they canceled the school today, and they're canceling school tomorrow. And we have a total of 4 inches of. It's just
what different areas that aren't
they're not prepared. They don't salt the roads ahead of time. They don't have the equipment to it's just.
I mean, quite literally, like I brought my son to school, and like the only when it was negative 15 out, and I brought my son to school, and the only thing they had was that if they didn't have their snow pants either on or in their backpack, they wouldn't be allowed to come into school because they would be going outside for recess, and they had to have their snow pants. So I was like, that was the one thing. It was just like, so I mean, different worlds, right? It was like,
different strokes for different folks. It's just it is weird, and I feel like I was talking to people from work because they shut down our Atlanta office today because a lot of people couldn't make it in, and we're like, I'm sitting there telling them I got guys on Facebook that are talking about feet of snow, and we're here taking the day off because we got 4 inches. It's just.
Well, I was just gonna say that's what she said, but I mean, no, yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I freaking shoveled 3-4 inches off my stoop today, so.
Hey,
Lance. Don't even have snow on the roads, and they canceled school today.
Yep,
the roads have been cleared, and they canceled school.
Yep.
What's up, Robert?
Lance, will you put on your snow pants for me?
I personally don't have snow pants. I'm weird.
Oh. I bet you look good in them though.
Well, yeah, of course I do. No,
and poor kids are going to go to school to August.
I am very much. I wear a sweatshirt and pajama pants most days, and I usually wear sandals even when it's cold outside.
So basically, you look like you're going to Walmart every day of the week.
Yeah, pretty much. If I'm stepping out with my lady, I'll put some jeans on, I guess. But
Woohoo. Sharp dresser.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, fancy.
One of the first things I did was when I no longer I threw all my khaki pants away when I stopped working at the bank. Took all my khaki pants and I threw them in the garbage.
Every girl's crazy about that sharp dressed man.
So like many years ago when I delivered pizzas for Domino's Pizza, like the first day I went in, it's like, okay, well, and they told me go get a pair of Dickies, so basically get like a pair of navy dress pants, because you had to wear those. And then they gave me the Domino's shirt, that had the red top and the blue bottom. And,
was this back when the Noid was still a thing?
Oh yeah. This is, But one of the first things that happened was I sat down and they had me watch this training video, and it was all about driving safe and you representing the company, so don't do anything stupid. And then there was this music video that was to the ZZ Top Sharp Dressed Man, and it was and now looking back, I mean, now there's no way they'd ever show it because it was incredibly sexist. But it was just first of all the delivery drivers were dudes, right? And it's and every girl's crazy for the Domino's man, and it basically was this guy sharp dressed and delivering pizzas. And he'd deliver pizza, and these girls would just fawn over him,
this conversation's making me hot just talking about it.
But yeah, oh man, Domino's Pizza, that was not a fun job.
Still to this day, though, one of my favorite regular fast food pizza places, though.
They keep changing the way they make the pizza, though. We actually got it for the first time ever about a month and a half ago, and I was like, this is garbage. I was just this.
The one we have a good one around here. It makes really good thin crust. I don't like their hand toss, but their thin crust pizza is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I am really picky when it comes to pizza now, ridiculously picky. I just I can't. I mean, we got Papa John's once the other day. I mean, we had these two $10 gift certificates, and it was just I'll go get some Papa John's pizza, and literally they were running some deal where they were just giving the slop away, and my total was for two pizzas, it was 12 or $14, and I had these two $10 gift certificates, and I went and picked it up, and I handed this guy the gift certificates, and he was looking at them. And he was sitting there trying to figure out. He's like, I don't know how do I give you change or do I was like, you know what, just keep them both. I just laughed. I'm never coming back here again. Most likely. I was just most of the pizzas that we eat, if we eat as a family, it's the local chains kind of thing. You have that one or two. I've always said if I ever actually have the which I have looked into, I've tentatively been looking into the Gathering of Vikings, to have that little. You should come to that. If I ever do that, Robert, I'd give you an invite. Middle of the winter, find a hotel for a weekend, and where we can get a big meeting room and have enough room for maybe just only 20 people, and just sit there and play board games
in snow pants.
In snow pants only. No, and that was but there's 2 or 3 restaurants in town that are just in the Fargo Moorhead area, that Grand Junction Subs, which are amazing. Dwayne's House of Pizza, it's amazing.
Pizza Patrol.
No, Pizza Patrol is not amazing. It is so far from amazing. It's ridiculous.
So what do you guys have there in Minnesota? What's big? Is it the New York style pizza?
You know what? We just have pizza. We don't go.
You don't classify it.
We don't classify it. Yeah. The best pizza in town, in my opinion, is there's 2. But if you get a taco pizza, you get it from Happy Joe's Pizza, which is and I think that's kind of a thinner crust, a crispy crust type of things, whatever that is. Dwayne's House of Pizza is a thin crust, but it isn't crispy. I don't know how to explain that. It's it's really good. You know, it's one of those pizzas where you don't even normally get toppings. You just get cheese and you put peppers. You put the red peppers on top and just eat it like that. It's like, cause it's just really, really good.
Yeah.
Just cheese, sauce, and the red peppers on top. Good stuff. The Grand Junction subs, I've been told those are like East Coast style of subs, like because of the bread or something. I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe it's true. Maybe it isn't.
Yeah, because people can be very snobby about their pizza, right? Like New York City pizza is a certain way, and people that grew up on that, they don't want to eat anything else. Same with Chicago.
What is New York style?
Chicago's got the deep dish. California's got their thing.
New York's the thin, floppy stuff, right?
Yeah, real big slices, thin, lots of oil on top.
You got to fold it in half to eat it.
Yes, that's the New York style pizza.
Fold in half. There's a way you do it.
Yeah.
I grew up in New York.
I was born in a town, a Rust Belt town called Scranton, Pennsylvania, where the Office show, I guess, is their claim to fame. But they have their own style pizza that is only in that region.
Made out of dirt.
And it's I love it. It's like my favorite pizza, but I tell people, they're like, that's disgusting. That's not pizza. Because it's like they use American cheese and the sauce goes on top of the cheese.
Hey,
goes
Robert
on
Burkus,
first and the sauce goes on top.
Is that a table topper back there?
That is a table topper from Berkey. Yes.
From Berkey. I was just gonna say, wait a minute, that looks like a table topper. I could tell from the whatever, the cup holders.
Yeah, that's it. I got one of his first ones. I reached out to him because I was wanting a table, and he just so happened to have one that he sold me like right before we put the Kickstarter up. So I was very excited. Love it.
He's kind of running like a man with his head cut off, but he's going crazy. You know, looks like you got a couple of copies of Battle for Lost Souls down there too.
I do. I have some deluxe editions here.
I'm sorry. I'm poking around behind you, seeing what you got. Anything interesting?
Can you see the games? I don't know.
Oh yeah, we can. Is this like your gaming den there, buddy?
This is my man den.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where I wear my snow pants.
So Robert, you reached out to be on the show just for kicks, or did you actually want to like try to pimp something and tell people about something?
No, I'm not pimping nothing, man. I've been wanting to, I know we've talked about it before. I wanted to be on for a long time just to hang out.
Yeah.
And I had an opportunity, and I saw it online today, so I pinged you.
Cool, man. Well, I'm glad you joined us. Just jump in and talk whenever you want to. So football. I firmly believe that the Vikings will just find some way to kick me in the teeth at some point this season. If it isn't this coming weekend, it'll be 2 weekends from now.
It won't be this weekend. It'll be 2 weekends from now.
Would it be 3?
I am
3. Yeah.
I called up my older brother, who I normally would watch football with, but he though he lives in Minnesota now, he was back in Las Vegas and watching his son play baseball because he was in a baseball tournament, so he was back there, so I couldn't watch it with him. I called up my buddy Shad. He said that like I'm actually driving back from the city. I'm going to miss the first half. I'm going to have to listen to the first half on the phone. I was like, I'm on the radio on the way back. I was like, well, that doesn't work either. Well, because Monday we didn't have any school because of Martin Luther King Day. My daughter is like best friends with this girl at school, and I've become pretty good friends with her dad. They're her and he actually just recently moved into a home like a block away from our house. So it was like perfect. Now they can hang out all the time, whatever. And he just bought a brand new TV and he had ordered new furniture and all this stuff. And he's like, dude, just come over here. The girls can just goof around and do whatever. And we can watch the game. Cause he's like he's a big Vikings fan, just like I am. And I was like, all right, but they're going to lose. And he's like, we're not going to lose. We're a championship team. We're a champion. I was just like, so you started watching that game, and I can't sit. I mean, I couldn't sit at all. I was pacing around. Like, he made all this food, and I was like eating food and drinking beer, but I couldn't sit. I was just too antsy. And as much as I try to pretend that I don't care or that I'm not emotionally involved, I'm getting emotionally involved in the game. And but I was firmly believing they were going to lose the game. It didn't matter. You know, we're up 17-0 in the first half, and I was just sitting there, and we missed that field goal to end the half. And I turned and I looked at Dominic, the guy, and I said, that's why we're going to lose right there. We're gonna lose this game by 3 or less points. You know, I mean that's because we missed that field goal. Like I said, the wheels are going to start coming off the wagon. And so then the second half starts, and of course the wheels do start coming off the wagon. And I'm just like, you know, you can just feel Big Mo, the momentum of the game, just switching and changing. And I was just like, I was screaming and I was yelling and I was just getting more and more angry. And if you're a Vikings fan and like lifelong, I mean, it's just like, I can remember my dad and my older brother screaming at the TV over Vikings games, but I didn't really understand it. But then, I started watching them in the '80s when they sucked, but I really, really liked them. And then in 1987, I watched us lose that fucking, Darren Nelson drops the pass for an easy touchdown, or what everybody believes would have been an easy touchdown. And so we don't go to the Super Bowl, and it's just we had 98 and the missed field goal, and we had, obviously
the Favre interception,
the 41 donut against the Giants, which was like, what happened there? And to this day, people still say that the Giants actually had wired into our radio, and so they knew what our plays were and stuff like that. I don't know if that's true or not, but who knows? So, and of course, and it's not so bad that we threw the interception and we lost that game, but then you find out later that the Saints basically they cheated. I mean, they flat out cheated. They put bounties on players, and the head coach gets suspended for a year. The defensive coordinator gets suspended indefinitely. Players are suspended and fined. It's just like, but as my friend Craig said, it's like, well, flags fly forever, though, right? They're not going to take away the Super Bowl. They're not going to say, okay, let's play the game again. They're just, they won, and so you put up with it, and it just seems like every time anything good happens for us, it just, we got Teddy Bridgewater and it looked like he's great, and then he basically rips apart his knee and almost loses his leg in a non-contact training thing. We had this rookie that was leading the league in rushing this year, and he tore his ACL. It's like, we just can't have nice things. but somehow, Case Keenum comes out of nowhere and just and we're doing really well out. I was just like, this can't last. So we're sitting there and watching, and it's like 17-0. I'm just like, oh God, it's just like, what? I mean, if it was like 30-0, I might believe, but I'm just like, but we'll just find a way. We'll find a way to piss this away, like we always do. We always just piss it away. And all of a sudden, and then they finally go up, right? And then they're ahead. And because I think it wasn't because he hit a 49-yarder, so it was like 2014, and then they came and they got a touchdown, like it was nothing, like it was just. I mean, Drew Brees is just Hall of Fame, quarterback, and he picks us apart and destroys us. And I was like, oh my God, this is, and our offense just, it's like, our offense is playing scared, and it's just, I'm just going crazy, and our time management is horrible. And we get down there and we have a 53-yard field goal to go ahead. And I was just like, oh, geez. I mean, there's no way we're going to get this. It's like, I mean, I can't watch the TV. I mean, I'm in another room, but I was just like, I got to go out and watch this. Right. And I go out and I watch it, and he drills it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. We're ahead. We might win. And we're sitting there and we're watching, and I'm watching, and it's like that drive that Drew Brees had, I was just sick to my stomach the entire time, and I'm wearing a line in this guy's floor. I mean, I'm stomping back and forth, and then when we got to 4th and 10, I was like, just one more time, please. Just, I mean, at that point, like, I was completely 100% emotionally invested. And of course, he throws like a 13-yard pass, just perfect completion, done. And I was just like, and somehow, and lost in the shuffle. There's like so many different plays that like really mattered, but like they had 3rd and 1, and I think it was Alvin Kamara, their rookie running back, goes and runs up the middle, and like Brian Robinson, who wasn't even supposed to come back and play this year, but he said, I'll play one more year. He's played his defensive end. He's played for the Vikings his entire career. Like, comes up with the play of his life, and like, in my opinion, and stops him, like, at the line. Like, full head of steam, grabs him, pulls him down, basically forcing them to kick a field goal. And so Will Lutz comes in and drills a 43-yarder like everybody knew he would, because it was nothing, because that guy is like the best. I mean, I'm getting phone calls, texts, and everything. Bill Webb, who runs Frog God Games, like, is a lifelong Vikings fan. Like, he's 10 years older than I am, and he's texting me and calling me, and he's screaming, on the phone. And I mean, I'm sitting there, and so I was just like, oh God, how are we gonna do this? And I was just like, so we get the ball back. And I was like, whatever it was, we had 25 seconds or something. It was just ridiculous. And I was just, and gets the first completion, and they called the timeout, and that was like their first big chunk. And then, it's like we had like 19 seconds on the clock or something like that, and they hike it, and he throws it. And because we had 2-0 plays where we, like, incomplete passes. And I remember just sitting there, it's just like, I mean, I'm like, when Lutz hit the field goal, my buddy had just moved into his house, and I said, hey, do you know your neighbors? And he said, not really. I mean, I've just met them briefly. I was like, okay, do they have like small children or anything? I mean, are they light sleepers or anything like that? He's like, no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you think they're easily offended? He's just like, no. And I was like, all right. And so I walked out in my bare feet out onto his deck, covered in snow, covered in like about a foot of snow, calmly closed the patio door, and just screamed fuck as loud as I possibly could. I mean, like, just like one long, just, I couldn't, I mean, I was just so mad. And I'm mad at myself for being that, worked up about it. So I go back in, and I'm watching this play, and I mean, it's just, I mean, it's a blur. I mean, like, it's like, and I've watched that play, I'm guessing 300 times now. And I mean, it's just like that never happens for us. We never do that. As long as, I mean, in the 31, 32 years I've watched the Vikings, like, hardcore, like every game, watching it in and out, we never get that play. I mean, that never happens for us. And it felt so, and I shouldn't feel like this, but it felt so much even better that we did it to the Saints, just because I hate that team so much. I mean, there's people, and like, I have a lot of respect for like Drew Brees and like, as far as like his ability, and it sounds like he's like a pretty stand-up dude. But I mean, like, I think Sean Payton is just slime, as far as head coaching goes. And I mean, win or lose this weekend, and if we win and get to the Super Bowl, win or lose, I got that game. I mean, they can't take that away from me. And that was like,
enjoy it, man. It was awesome.
That was, I mean, I literally, I was screaming, like, I mean, I was like jumping up and down. Our 2 daughters are downstairs, like, playing on their iPads or something. And I think they thought the ceiling was going to come through, because Dominic's about my size. And we're screaming and yelling. I mean, I freaking tackled him. I think I broke his couch, but thankfully he's getting new furniture, so I don't have to worry about that. But I mean, his dog, he has this big giant, like, dog Rex, and he was barking and going crazy because we were going crazy. I mean, I was like, it's just, yeah, I mean, it's just that I feel really bad for that safety, that rookie safety. I mean, because, like, I mean, I hope he has like some like really amazing moment that like makes up for this. Like catches an interception, runs it back for a touchdown to win a playoff game or something like that to erase this. I mean,
He
just
won't
because
be on the team long enough to know. They're going to cut him.
No,
They're
they
gonna cut
won't.
him in the off season. He will not be there next year.
Nah, you don't know.
I don't think they'll cut him.
They've
One
already
play doesn't make a player.
Oh, you'd be surprised. I guarantee he's getting death threats in New Orleans, and he'll probably be glad to leave.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure he probably is, and that's unfortunate because you could look at any player on that team that whole game, and you could pick out a play that they did not. That somebody else screwed up, right? Just because that was a key moment at the end of the game doesn't mean it was any worse than some of the other bad plays other teammates made, right? Like, so I feel bad for the guy because he was all over the place. Now he screwed up big time, right? I mean, that is how you do not make a tackle. Like, it's like a textbook example of how not to make a tackle with your head down, trying to go for the big hit, not wrap your arms the whole 9 yards.
Whiffing completely.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying he held up because he was afraid of getting the interference penalty, but
yeah. But you got to feel for the guy, man. You got to feel for him because they had other opportunities to score. They had other opportunities to make stops. Right, it wasn't just him; it was the whole team that lost the game.
And honestly, even if he hadn't run it in for a touchdown, where he caught it, they were on the outside edge of field goal range, so they would have at least still had a chance because he was right on the sideline.
Well, let me just say this: if we had to kick a field goal, I guarantee you we would have missed it.
Well, that may be so.
After watching Blair Walsh shank a 21-yarder, against in the playoff game against Seattle like 2 years ago or a year ago or whatever it was, it's us, right? It's the Vikings. I mean, we are, and I've said this over and over again. Being a fan of the Minnesota Vikings is like having the worst, like, girlfriend/boyfriend in the world. I mean, it's just like, you can't trust them. You can't believe in them. But whenever you finally give up and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to care anymore, they find some way to weasel their way back into your heart. This time it'll be different. I promise. I've grown a lot as a person. I really feel bad about all the nasty, horrible things that I did to you. I know you shouldn't forgive me, but just give us one more chance, and this time I promise I'll be true. And then
she sleeps with your brother.
And then you find out she sleeps with your grandpa. It's just like
your grandpa.
You find his dentures in your bed, and you're like, what the hell? But yeah, they find a way. They find a way to and it's just, this one's gonna sting, because what'll happen is that we'll get to the Super Bowl and we'll lose in our own stadium. So for the rest of
Patriots,
that's pretty much what I'm thinking is gonna happen.
The Patriots are so good. I mean, I'm just like, oh.
Well, it's easy to be good when you cheat all the time and get away.
There is that. I mean, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's right.
Never said cheaters never win.
Investigated all
Never
32
play the
teams.
Patriots.
Every team is cheating. They just got caught.
The Patriots way. Yeah,
they're cheating better. How's that?
Well, Lance, I'm rooting for you guys big time. I hate the Eagles.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a Minnesota fan on that day in a big way.
I would love to see a Jags Vikings Super Bowl because then you're guaranteed of getting a new Super Bowl champ that's never been crowned before.
What did somebody say? Awesome. They were talking about chances of different Super Bowls, and they were like, they said, like, what was it? It was like, and the Philadelphia Jaguars, which the commissioner himself will disavow any possibility of this happening. Just like for ratings purposes. I mean, it's just like I had to laugh. That was funny.
Yeah, I think the most riveting matchup would be Patriots-Vikings. For the Vikings being home team and the Patriots shoot for their sixth, that would probably net their most ratings.
Well, and it's a business, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just ultimately I hate that I care this much, about it, right? I just I it drives me crazy. But, oh well, whatever. But that was pretty uncool, just like yeah. So
Can you dig it?
people are chatting here. Hold on. It's one of those.
Yeah, they don't care about sports. Is basically what's going on here.
Somebody asked, "Is he one of those haters of the new Star Wars?"
No, someone said they'd rather you be ranting on Star Wars than talking about sports.
Oh.
I was following the chat. They're not very happy right now.
Um.
Well, don't they know that Lance does this for him, not them?
Yeah. Well, there's only
Yeah.
17 people in chat.
Well,
It's not like we're missing off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
lots of board gamers don't like sports. I don't get that.
No, that's fine.
I think they would be naturally attracted to sports.
So
It's just a game after all.
I asked
Yeah.
for my daughter. My daughter and I we paint minis together, and I asked her for a new mug, like for like cleaning my like put water in, and so you can clean out your brush or whatever. And so I said, find me a big mug, like, and then so she's like, yeah. So I don't think I showed you this. So this is the mug that she got me for
I
Christmas.
woke up.
She brought me a big mug with all the Disney princesses on it. I was like, oh, thanks, honey. Just kind of like that she couldn't.
Let's see how long that stays down in the basement before she commandeers it for hot cocoa.
Well, she better do it soon because, like, I was going to use it today actually to put paint in or to my wastewater in so I could paint my my new Nurgle army people stuff. So, but man, I really like playing Warhammer. Warhammer is a lot of fun. But anyway, anybody play anything recently? Anybody had any games they want to talk about?
Yeah, I played Dinosaur Island, Terraforming Mars this week and liked both of them a lot. Yeah, Dinosaur Island especially. Wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. Really.
Had you never played Terraforming Mars at all?
Nope. My copy was sealed until last week.
Oh, that's a good game.
I don't get a chance to play much games that aren't prototypes anymore.
Womp womp.
I cracked an old game off of my shelf the other day. I pulled out Francis Drake. That one's got some great componentry in it.
I don't think that's a word.
Componentry?
Componentry.
It's true because I used it.
Add it to same what?
I'm gonna be using that.
I say that all the
Words
time.
of friends.
I've said that many a time.
Isn't it amazing that we call Francis Drake an old game?
Well, it is. It's like 3 years old.
I know it's like 3 years old.
Well, remember,
It's
I've
like
only-
last
over the
year,
hill,
old
it's like-
games nowadays.
yeah, but
might
I've
as
only
well
been doing
throw it in
board
the
games for 5 or
garbage.
6. So, I mean, to me, that's old because when I've only been doing games for 5-6 years, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, you might as well just throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
That's why I had to pull it out because I was like, man, that's a good-looking game. I need to play that again.
I played quite a few.
Look at Barry.
Barry played games.
Oh, everybody, let's give Barry the floor.
I went
You know what?
to
We haven't had the Barry 15 in a long time. Take the floor, Barry. Give us the Barry 15.
So I went to the Caval. What the hell do they call it? New Year's, whatever.
Oh well,
Party?
tell us more.
Yeah, it was a beer mongers, but I played Azul. Is that the name of it? Azul? It was like a gateway game. It was okay. We played the basic version of it. I know there's a more advanced side on the back end of it. That was okay. I mean, I can see why people dig it.
Can you dig it, sucker?
And then we played Pulsar, which I thought was a Feld game. It wasn't though. It was the guy who made what the hell's the name of that game now? Jen likes it a lot. Brewster's Millions. What the hell is it?
Oh, last
Prodigy. Prodigy
Marshmallow
Club?
Chronicles.
Club and all that. Yeah, it's him. But it's a point salad game.
Pulsar 20, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
28 or whatever.
I know what you're talking about. I forgot this to be the new CGE game.
Yeah, that was interesting. I enjoyed that. We only played the first one. There's many different variants and different ways you could, adjust the difficulty and all that to that. That was pretty interesting. But it was a point salad game. I won, and I still had no idea how I did. And I won by a lot, which surprised me. But the other three guys were pretty close.
Don't break your arm. Pat yourself on the back.
No, I just I don't know how. Like I said, I didn't really focus on one thing, so I don't really know how I won by that much. And then I played This War of Mine, which I really enjoyed, but the rule book sucked. That guy who wrote that should be shot. It was
shot. Like his life ended.
Yes. Well,
he didn't say fatally shot. He just said shot. Like shoot his little toe off.
Yeah, just a little one. Well, the rule book, the game's sort of like Agents of Smirch, that kind of ilk, where you do actions on the board and then you read, a paragraph in the book. Well, the rule book split up between this one called a journal and another one called whatever the hell it's called. I can't remember now. But they have this in the journal. It's like just to get you going, and it's very vague, very basic, just the basic actions. And then the rest of it's in this I forget what the hell the other one's called, which is where all the paragraphs here is at. But scattered throughout these paragraphs, it's not even in like 1 or 2 pages in the front of the book, but scattered throughout these paragraphs is the rest of the rules. All right, so it's like, you're taking the day action, refer to paragraph 200, and then you're taking a night action, refer to paragraph 500. So that could have been done a little bit better, I think.
Their intent for the game, Barry, was actually so that you could play the game without sitting and reading a rule book. And so they did it that way intentionally. But for those of us that like to sit and read a rule book and know exactly how to play the game, learning as you go is probably not the best idea.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It was intentional, I believe. So
yeah, but it's still for reference, it's still a very screwed up way to go, I did.
It sucks when you have to go and look something up.
Yeah. I did like that. You really, once you get the hang of it, as you're playing the game, the cards pretty much tell you what to do for the most part, and the story itself is pretty interesting. You're basically trying to survive this bombed out shelter. It was a pretty cool concept of a game, and then for the most part, I liked the gameplay of it. The one thing I didn't like also was the journal is like the active player, and I could see that getting torn up within 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
As far as like the quality of the thing, kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of. It's a book, and you just pass it from one person to the next, and I could just see that getting destroyed after a couple games. Especially if you're flipping through it constantly.
So knowing your penalty for the rule book, I can guess the kind of survivor you probably were in this War of Mine. I'm pretty sure you killed the old lady neighbor to take her drugs and her food, didn't you?
And the dog, yes.
Killed his dog and ate it. Gotcha.
It's really screwed up.
Man's got to eat.
When you go read a paragraph and it says you found 2 hidden rules, I mean. But yeah, like I said, for the most part, I enjoyed it. And then we played a couple older games, Raiders of the North Sea, and what was the other one?
I got expansions for that yesterday.
Did you?
I got that too. Did you get the box then to be able to put everything together?
Yeah, I got the box too. So
I'll have to put it all together or something.
Yeah, it doesn't take too long to put it together, so it's pretty easy. I got that.
You shut up. You smart. Yeah, you shut up.
You should.
Huh. Where's Anthony? He hasn't been on. So somebody explain to me why Gaia Project is $100.
Oh, I don't know that.
Because Terra Mystica was like $100 too.
Terra Mystica was like 70, I think.
80, I think.
No, I don't think the
79.
MSRP
It's the
was.
componentry.
The
componentry.
Came full circle.
It's
on
because it's
componentry.
Asmodee owned 2 years after, or 3 years after Terra Mystica was $80. That's why it's $100. You need another answer?
No, I mean, I guess not. I mean, it's one of those.
Oh,
things
look
that
at
just-
it. What Star Wars Rebellion's $100.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
but
got
I
a
mean,
huge
Star Wars
IP
Rebellion.
attached to
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's just I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
You can justify
Twilight
that
Imperium's $100+ bucks.
140 MSRP.
I'm sure that Gaia Project box weighs 87 pounds.
I
The
saw.
Terra Mystica did.
I was at my local game store and I was just I was looking at it and I was just like, well, this is kind of cool and all, but I was just like, yeah. And I was thinking about buying it actually because I get a pretty good discount there. But then I was like, when am I gonna play this? I was just like, I was just put it down. I'm sure somebody. I go to Con of the North here in February, so I'm sure somebody will have it there.
What's Feast for Odin running? Is it like $90?
I don't know.
I'm gonna look.
You're on with the goddamn map. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, has anybody played Agra?
Feast for Odin's $100 MSRP. So there you go. Same price, same size box, pretty much. So that's their
Yeah,
price.
has anybody played Agra?
I have not. I'm interested.
I am too. It's like, and you played Otis, right? And you thought it was like okay.
I like Otis. I think it's neat. I bought it. I don't know if it's like the best game in the world, but I think the theme's neat. I like the mechanisms, and I think it's a fun little game. So I dig it. It's got a lot of planning to it.
Sucker.
And
has anybody played
I think it's
Newsfjord?
good.
I want to know if anybody's played Newsfjord.
I played Newsfjord at BGG Con.
And
I did not. I gave up trying to buy Newsfjord after I played it. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. I don't need to play it again. So I didn't love it. Didn't hate it. I found it very light and average for a Nuve game. But I didn't despise it like I did Indian Summer. So there's that.
yeah, I had somebody tell me that Indian Summer was amazing just the other day.
Oh my God, I hated Indian Summer so much, and I like Cottage Garden and Patchwork. And if we disliked Indian Summer so much that during the drawings at BGG Con, when it was standing room only, the Berkey table at Hot Games for Indian Summer was open. We could have gone and played it again to have a place to sit. And the other two guys said, nah, we'll stand. So that's how much we didn't care for it. It's too easy. It's just sit there and cover your board, and that's it. It's not that engaging of gameplay in all three of our opinions that played it. So we didn't love it.
Fair enough.
And I hate to sit there and bag on it, but oh my God, it was not that fun. But I've been bad. I've only played 3 games this month. I played Yokohama again, and that game's great, but I took a beat down the likes Yokohama's not seen in a long time.
I still haven't played one copy.
Oh yeah, I was like 50 points behind first place. It was brutal. I did not do well, but I enjoyed it. It's still a great game. If anybody hasn't played it, go play it, because I don't know if it's my favorite TMG game, but it's in the top 3. Without a doubt. Have you played Lance besides, model guys?
Well, I played. I had a prototype of Everdell, and I played that. I actually really enjoyed that. the game's so short that like there's just such an efficiency of actions that is needed to be done that I really liked it. Plus, there's a lot of like it's all about chaining stuff together that allow you to do more actions and trying to figure out ways to chain things together. So, it was like, so I like games like that where you have to like kind of train yourself and figure out the puzzle each time you play it. So,
kind of like an engine building type thing.
Yeah, I mean, how do I even explain it? So, like, okay, so in Everdell, which is in the is in the Kickstarter like right now. The whole idea is that you're creating a city and they're making it, and there's these cute little animals, these anthropomorphic animals, and you're building things. And so you have a tableau of cards that you get to draw from. You also draw cards off the deck, and then there's all these different places. So it's worker placement. You kind of build cards in your hand. You have cards in your hand. On your turn, you either place a worker or play a card, or you take your season action. So like as the seasons, there's 3 seasons: spring, summer, and autumn. When you take a season action, you basically say you're done for that season, but then you get a worker, and you get to like have a round basically, and then you get to kind of clean up, and then you wait for everybody else to be done. You start with 2 workers. There's no ability to increase the number of workers you have. The only way you can increase your workers is by taking the season action, but then you're done. So like there's that. So it's like you kind of build up. So in the spring and in autumn, you can do your production of your city again. There's like different types of cards, and certain cards will have a production icon on it that tell you that you're able to use the ability on the cards. You always get to use the ability of the card when you play it, but if they have the production icon, you can use them again. So the whole idea is like you kind of have like spring's a build up, like you're trying to create something that's going to be like the base of your engine, and then everything is a resource. So there's resources like pebbles and resin and all these things that you use to create the buildings of your town. But also cards are a huge resource of just basically discarding cards to get other resources that allow you to use those resources to build something else, which allow you to get more cards in your hand. So then you can discard more cards and use different actions and things like that. So there's you're just trying to chain all these things together basically to keep yourself alive as long as possible in that without ever finally getting you finally done, right? You don't have a worker to put down to start the chain again. You don't have a card that you can discard to start the chain again. Things like that. So, and it's like I said, it's just like you got to figure out that puzzle every time. You get a giant deck of cards. So there's tons of different things. There's all these different event tiles. There's all these different in the event tiles themselves have places where you can put workers. If you build a building within your city, it has a power. People can actually use that power. They can put a worker in that building in your city and use it. You get a point if they do that, but you'd rather you were the one using it usually because you want to use the power of your own buildings. It's just it's cool enough that because there's so many different cards and so many different ways that you can set the game up that each game will be kind of like a weird little puzzle. And me being an exploratory gamer type person, I really enjoy that aspect. I mean, because I'm gonna be able to explore it a great deal and have fun with it. So I enjoyed it a great deal.
Cool.
There you go. And it's got fantastic art.
So it goes back to a show we had the other day. I decided that the theme this year of the new hotness of themes is going to be anthropomorphic animals because it seems like they're everywhere already this year.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of games with that in it. So there you go. That's what I decided.
Anthropomorphic Cthulhu zombies.
There you go. Tiny epic.
Tiny epic. I was just going to say
tiny epic anthropomorphic Cthulhu zombies.
Tiny epic dead horse.
Ooh,
Nah, you could still beat that a couple more times.
Yeah,
I'm sure he will.
It's not even been close to been beaten to death yet.
Nope.
I got to play finally Lisboa. Have you guys played this yet?
No.
I have not. I've heard good things about it, but I have not.
Yeah. It's epic, I guess, is an understatement. It's huge. I mean, every player has their own rule book, and you need to have it because there's like pages of reference. Like you've got to read little numbers on cards and look it up and to figure out what it does. It will take me 5 plays until I think I'm comfortable enough to actually understand strategy in this game. Really, just a massive effort. Very impressed. It's good. It's very good. You haven't played it, Lance?
Which?
Lisboa?
Oh, I play Lisboa, but it's a huge, heavy game, and you know, chances are, like I'm not going to have people that are going to be able wanting to sit down and play it anytime soon. That's a convention game for me.
Yeah, that's the problem with it, right? Like it's a game that takes a lot of plays to really understand the depth of it, but like how are you going to find the time to play that game? Because you're going to need to play it with like the same people, right, that understand it, or at least have some basic understanding of it. You're going to spend the whole time teaching it over and over again, and that's not fun. So that's kind of the problem with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's just like one of my favorite games. I mean, all my favorite games are games that are bigger and heavier that I don't get to play very often. You know, like I mean, games like Dominant Species and Urban Sprawl and you know, stuff like that. I don't get a chance to play them very often. Just because they are heavier, and if you have to teach it, I mean that's an hour. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
You know, which is tough. You know, so yeah, I don't know.
I'm lucky on Dominant Species. Our group, we have a lot of people that love it, so I probably play it at least once a month with my group. So that's one bigger game that I do get to play often. Love it. But Lisboa, I don't think I'll get to play that very much. But I'm glad I own it, man. It's a beautiful game too. I love it.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I mean, they Eagle really cranked it out of the park with that one.
And I also just played this thing. Have you played this?
I didn't see it.
Rock, Paper, Wizard.
Oh, I haven't, but I've seen it many, many times.
Whiz Kids. Great idea. I don't know what I think of it quite yet, but it's rock, paper, scissors. but there's different hand signals that are different spells. So you line up the different spells on a tableau, and they're shared, and everybody decides what spell you're going to cast from that group of cards, and you make the hand signal that's drawn on the card, and you point it at some other player. So some of them will move players back towards the exit. Some will move. You're trying to get gold from a dragon that you've just defeated is the theme. So some will move you forward to the gold, and some will move other players back. And then some will steal gold from other players. It's just it's a total take that game, but very chaotic. But man, it's fun. We had a ball with it, so I want to play it some more and really get a sense of what my final thoughts are on it. But very neat idea. My only problem with it so far is I think some of the spells just didn't work. You know what I mean? They just didn't work. They fell flat. So I want to play it some more. Rock, paper, wizard.
Rock, paper, wizard.
Spock.
Lance, you have a question from chat about when Orleans will be coming back into print from TMG.
Sooner than you think. I don't have my spreadsheet up in front of me right now. It's on my laptop. I think that actually might be on a boat right now. If it isn't, it will be very shortly. So, very, very soon. Please be patient. But, yeah, there you go.
I have no patience. But now we're at the game.
That's true. There's that. I mean,
I'm a little bit patient because I didn't buy a Gen Con badge yet.
Are they on sale yet?
Yes, Gen Con badges went on sale Sunday.
Can we sign up for our press badges yet?
Yes, I signed up and it was received. I haven't got any response yet. But
I should probably do that, huh?
Yeah, you might if you want one.
Well, I like being able to get into the secret room.
Yep. So, well, then you might want to march over there and click your little button.
You sign up as me again to take mine away from me?
No, I did. That was 2 years ago. Last year, I just did it as the Alaboom without referencing you. So. And then I didn't steal your damn badge.
Sign in.
I probably won't try to get a hotel room this year, though. So I'll either stay with somebody else or I will commute.
Well, I've said this.
Yeah, if you didn't have to go, you wouldn't go.
If I didn't have to go, I wouldn't go.
I'm not at that point yet, but I'm at the point. It's an hour away from me, so it's not a big deal to go. But I don't have the inclination to take a week off of work this year to go to Gen Con, and I got an extra 5 days of vacation this year. So it's just I'm not that motivated for Gen Con. But I had one of the best times I've had at Gen Con last year. It's just I think the process of trying to go to Gen Con is just more stressful than Gen Con is worth it at this point.
For me, it's there you go, done. For me, Gen Con last year, the most fun I had was playing games in the hot games room.
Yep, that was the best part because it was like going to BGG Con.
Yeah,
I mean, it really was. And because the hot games room was fun because that's where my friends were hanging out, right? And if it wasn't for you guys and Aldi and a few other people, I would have zero motivation to go to Gen Con at all. The games are fine, but I mean, I left with a bunch of games, but I could have probably left with no games, and I wouldn't have noticed the difference at this point.
Lance, I first met you at Gen Con.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Where was it at?
In the Tasty Minstrel Room, and
that's right.
They were showing Bomb Squad at the time, the prototype of Bomb Squad.
Yeah. That's right. And I remember you you introduced yourself to me. And I was like,
yeah.
So there you go. Well, looky there. Yeah, I don't know. Gen Con's fun. I mean, it definitely has its place, right? So, but yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I'm pretty. I don't know. It's just not.
It's draining.
It is, and like we talked about it last time, and I don't want to go over it all again, but I mean, I was one of those things where I just I didn't actually see the entire floor, which it was just so much, not enough time, and that was that's what it was, so much, not enough time, if that makes any sense. Just no matter what we were, just by the time with all the meetings and everything I had to go to. By the time they were done, it was I look up and it was oh, it's 5:55. The floor is closing in 5 minutes. All right. Well, there's that then. Just I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's fine, I guess, but I mean, it's just plus, I mean, if you go every year in, year out, and this will be what? Gosh, my 8th year in a row. I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm kind of just burnt out.
Your 8th year in a row for Gen Con? You haven't been that many times.
I haven't been.
No, because I met you during your first one, and so it wasn't quite that long ago.
I don't know.
Probably 5 or 6 for you.
It just feels like 8.
It just feels that way.
It does. It's changed so much, even since from 6 years ago to now. It's a different show.
Yeah. So Robert,
it's not a bad show. It's just different.
Right. It's just busy and it's chaotic.
It's got
chaos is the biggest descriptor of it, I think.
Well, and the fact that you like you feel like you don't, you feel like you're missing out on something. Does that make sense? I mean, it's just like no matter what, it's like, and I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling that like
no matter what you do, you know there's something else going on that you don't get to do. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, you gotta understand too, from our perspective, is we're working on Gen Con 3 months ago. And it's just such a slow grind building up to all the work that goes into going to Gen Con that by the time you get there, you're just waiting for it to be over with. Whereas normal people who just plan it up, a few months in advance, get their all their travel and all that stuff lined up, then they're just go and just enjoy themselves. Whereas it's a different beast for most of us because you're doing so much prep and planning ahead of time. It kind of takes the fun out of it before you even get there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Origins, and yeah, that's what it. I don't know. I mean, no, I mean, I'll have fun. It's just it's those things where it's just I know that it'll just drive me crazy. I was hoping that I would be able to like go to less conventions this year. Just because, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, it kind of stinks, being gone for like 5-6 days, and it's just like you said, it's just draining. It's just draining not to be home. It's draining to be, just kind of miss it out on stuff that's going on, and
you're so busy there. You're working so much. It's not.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's really fun. Like
have you seen Lance at the convention?
No, I mean, like it was fun last year because we had we're giving away the copies of Okie Dokie and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun just to goof around with people and get them to say, I'm here for the Okie Dokies or stuff, and just having fun with it. But I was like, it was just, I don't know. It's like I said, it's just like you always just felt like, I mean, it was the whole process, like, okay, then we're done. And then it's just like, and you're kind of beat. And it's just like, okay, well, now we got to find some place to eat. And then you got to go find a place to eat. And then you're done eating and you're like, well, you're frantically texting everybody, what's going on? Where is everybody? What's everybody doing? What's everybody going on? What's going on? And you're trying to figure out, I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess I'm a little weird because I find conventions extremely energizing for the fact that, because my work is so, I'm at home, and so are you, Lance, but, because I'm at home and my interactions are so, over Skype calls and Google Hangouts, if I even have a day where I do that, if it's not just a day of just, straight up emails all day long, right? That when I go to a convention, it's like I get to be in my element in doing what I feel that I'm best at my job. And so it energizes me in a really interesting way. And I do look forward to getting home, but when I'm at a convention, I am just as pumped as I can possibly be.
I felt that way the first few years, but I'm more in line with Lance now, where after running the convention gamut for 7, 8 years now, I enjoy missing shows here and there and just being home more.
Pete, you've been broken.
Yeah.
They broke you, man.
Yeah, well, I went to a lot of shows over the last few years and worked really hard at them.
Yeah, I understand. It's different. Some conventions for me, I love but I'm not there just working. I'm there to have fun with people, and that's the difference for me. If I'm going just to have fun, or am I going to sell something? It's a completely different experience. I'd much rather just go to have fun.
I think a lot of it for me is that it's when you get to that convention season where it's okay, it's Gamma. and then it's Origins, and then it's Dice Tower Con, and then it's Gen Con, and then it's it's Geekway to the West,
It's
and
one month after another, after another, after another, and there's no break.
And there's one weekend of every month that you're gone for like. There's 1 week of every month, like during the summer when you want to hang out with your kids, that you're gone for like 5-6 days. And it's just kind of like, and that's like the summer where it's like they're home from school, and it's just.
I hear you. I do that all year.
Yeah, I don't know. And Dice Tower Con, I mean, it's just like I actually enjoyed. I went to Dice Tower Con for the first time ever, and I really enjoyed it. It was like it was a neat place to be at. There was like people had people running the convention were exemplary. It was nice to be there.
Plus, that was the one show we actually got to hang out and play games.
Yeah, it's my favorite, I think.
But it's like, why do they do it over the 4th of July? It's just kind of like...
Same this year, too. It's going to be the same week. Matter of fact, it actually starts on the 4th of July this year.
It starts on the 4th of July. I mean, I'm like... There's not... I mean, 4th of July is, like, for me, like, one of the most fun times I have with my kids. It's like, we go to the lake, we go swimming, we tow the kids behind the boat on the tube. As soon as it starts to get dark, we start breaking out the fireworks and we start having a blast.
Well, that's kind of the reason they did it in July, actually, because they want it to be a family-orientated convention where people could bring their kids. So I think the idea was people could come down for the convention and go to Disney World or go to the parks and do all the other stuff that Orlando has to offer.
So not only do I go to I mean, the reason why I think that's ridiculous is because it's just like a trip to Disney World is not cheap,
No.
And it's like it's one of those things too where it's like, and I've had like several people tell me they're like, oh yeah, it was great. I mean, I went to Dice Tower Con and then like I just sent my wife and my kids to Walt Disney World, and I was just like, that's fine. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I mean, one, I can't imagine my wife thinking that would be cool, and two, I would never think that would be cool. Because I'd be like, oh, let me get this straight. I can go and play some board games that I could play at home anytime I want. Or I could go to Disney World and have a blast with my family.
Not only that, who wants to go to Disney World in July?
Yeah.
Who wants to go to Disney World with 5 kids by themselves?
Yeah, I mean, I've had more than a few people tell me that I just send them there, and my wife takes them, and then I head to Dice Tower Con, and I play board games. It's just like,
Lance, everybody's different.
I know. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Some people like that. Some people think The Last Jedi was good. I mean, there's lots of people that are wrong.
There we go again. Round 3. Fight.
Richard Ham and I talked today, and he and I had it out over the movie. It just, I mean,
well, if Richard disagreed with you, then he's wrong.
I ranked it number 6 on my Star Wars list, so I think I'm safe.
I don't think there's any way. I mean, it's tied for the worst ever, in my opinion.
I would put it about number 6.
I'd put it at, it's sitting right at 5 or 6 for me.
Somewhere in there.
The more I think about the movie, the more I realize it's awful.
Oh, so Lance, I actually had to get on a call with somebody, but I wanted to tell you I watched the Vikings game. I was at a restaurant with a friend of mine and our wives, and the Vikings were playing, and I was like, oh, hey, it's the purple guys. I know those are the Vikings from Lance, right? I live in Ohio, where I guess we cheer for the Ohio team, and I don't know who that is.
The Browns.
You have 2 of them. Baby. You have 2 of them.
So yeah, those guys. So we're the brown guys, and Lance is the purple guys.
I wouldn't say it like that.
So I was watching, and like all of these people in this restaurant, it was like a barbecue place, but like had a big bar, so lots of TVs. And these people were just like cheering and like watching, and everybody was kind of like up on their feet. And I literally was like, is it the Super Bowl? Because I had no idea. I literally had no idea. And I asked my friend, I was like, is it the Super Bowl? And he's like, maybe. is it? And I would like both of our wives were like, no, it's not the Super Bowl, because apparently they know and we had no idea. But sorry, just thought I would share that antidote because
that's fine. You don't follow it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Even I'm not that bad. I knew it was the playoffs because Jen started watching the Eagles. I knew they were in the playoffs.
Playoffs.
I almost texted Lance to say, or messaged Lance to say, hey, the Vikings are in the Super Bowl. But then I realized, I was like, oh, this isn't the Super Bowl.
See, I can understand why people would be annoyed with people that want to just talk about sports. And I get it. I mean, I get why it's annoying, but I mean, it's and I guess I for some reason it kind of bugs me when people are like going out of their way to try to
crap on it.
Well, just like, hey, that sports ball team out there, they're doing the fun stuffs with the points. You just shut up.
All I gotta say is, guys, if you think it's bad now, if they win next week, it's gonna get even worse. And if they win 2 weeks after that, you might as well just not watch for a month.
Oh, we're not gonna win.
I'll be so happy for you, Lance, if they win. I'll be thinking about you.
Well,
you think the Star Wars episode was bad? Wait if the Vikings win the Super Bowl. It's over. Or wait if the Vikings lose the Super Bowl on a bad call that was in favor of Tom Brady. Then forget about it.
He does get all the calls. I mean, that's just one of the things.
I mean, they made rules just for him to make it easier for quarterbacks.
Yep. And my wife loves it because she's the biggest Patriots fan. She's been a lifelong Pats fan, so she's going to be pulling all the way, and I have to listen to it.
That's fine. I mean, at least it isn't one of those things where it's like, oh, I started liking them,
Nah, she was born and raised in Massachusetts, so.
All right, that's fair. Mm-hmm. Hey, you gotta go. You gotta dance with the one that brought you, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Man, we beat you guys this year. We beat the Patriots this year.
You didn't beat me.
Choked on New Orleans.
This is my team, sadly, and they suck. So.
Oh yeah. You were on the bottom of our division. I'm a Panthers fan.
Yeah.
It's a tough division.
I wanted Carolina to come to, because there was no way that there was no. I mean, New Orleans was the one team I didn't want to face. That was the one team I did not want to face in these playoffs. I mean, it was just like, and I thought that's the team that's going to beat us. Any team that can just has a calm quarterback that will keep his head on his shoulders and pick us apart. Yeah, and I was like, I thought for sure if we could get Cam Newton, we could rattle him in the Metrodome. Not Metrodome, the U.S. Bank Stadium. But there is I'm sorry to talk about sports. There is a clip, you can find it. There's of the actual noise of how loud it got in the stadium when Diggs caught the pass, and when the crowd the crowd's completely silent, and it's actually from the sideline in the corner of the end zone. You can find it easily. And if you just listen to it at normal noise volume, and it is ridiculous. It's like the crowd's silent because they come up and they're trying to get them to be quiet so they can call a play or whatever. The crowd's silent, and you hear the crowd starts getting excited. He throws the ball. You hear the swell. Diggs catches it, and you hear this super loud explosion of noise of 60,000 people screaming. And it dies down for a half a second, where
shock.
Well, yeah, because when he comes down, and then he turns and he runs upfield, and everybody in the stadium realizes he's going to score a touchdown, and it's and it was super ass loud the moment he caught it. It's double that loud when they realize he's.
I actually liked the skull chant when they were kicking the extra point or kneeling for the extra point.
Yeah, when cool. He came out and just skull, skull. Yeah, but yeah, it's they can't take that game away no matter what.
I'm very jealous.
I've watched that. Like I said, I've watched that play
I know. I could tell. It's all over your Facebook page.
Oh, I know.
Several
100 times. I loved somebody sent me those things like of like Stone Cold Steve Austin giving them the safety and stuff.
That was pretty funny. Duplexing the safety so he could run down the sideline.
A stunner. Yeah, I'm actually gonna miss I'm not gonna be able to watch the Royal Rumble because the Royal Rumble's coming up on Sunday, and they got I'm watching the playoff game instead. I guess if the playoff game goes horribly, I'll start watching the Rumble instead. But
I don't think you have much to worry about. I think it's going to be more of the Super Bowl.
See, you say that, but you don't know. You have no idea. Just how good they are at destroying you.
But the ultimate destruction is to go to the big game. Would it be at home and then lay the egg?
Yep.
So if we go to the Super Bowl and we lose, we'd be the first team to go 0-5 in Super Bowls.
Yep, that too. There's a lot at stake.
Yeah, there is a lot at stake.
Week. There's a lot at stake if you win next week.
Yeah.
A lot of records, one way or the other.
The Bills are 0-4, I guess.
0-4 in 4 straight years. Can you imagine how torturous that would be?
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible.
Hey, at least I got there.
Well,
I don't know,
too, so we're getting there.
Hey, it makes you the best bridesmaid in the world.
If I was sitting there watching us piss that game away on Sunday, I turned to my friend Dominic and I said, why couldn't they have just beaten us 50-0? I was just like, rip the Band-Aid right away and just, not this slow, torturous, slow peel as I'm, but, oh well. Like I said, you can't take it away. Anyway,
you're running and you're still bitching.
Still bitching. Don't you have to go cheer for the Eagles there, Philly boy?
I haven't in a long, long time.
You aren't. Nobody.
I hate the Eagles.
I do too.
They have the worst fans in this country.
They do.
Philly in general has worse fans in any sport.
There's a picture of and I've seen it, and it's and this is I apologize from the get go. This is a little crass, but it was female football fans, and it was all NFC East, and so it showed just standard good looking girl in a Redskins outfit, good looking girl in a Giants. So it's a picture that's out there, and the last one's of an Eagles, and still attractive young woman, but she must be tailgating because she's crouched down next to her pickup and peeing on the ground.
I thought you meant the cheerleader.
That sounds about right.
It's just
there's a certain lack of class with Philadelphia fans. Yes.
Wasn't Philadelphia the first stadium that had its own jail installed?
Yeah, I believe so.
No, it wasn't football. That was
Wouldn't surprise me.
I think that was the basketball.
But still, they had their own jail.
They had their own. They had their own municipal court and jail.
Yeah,
the vet had a jail cell underneath too.
It was a cash grab. Do you know how much a bottle of soda costs in Philly?
$1.
Well, no, it's like $4. Some crap like that.
$4 or $5.
Oh, do they have that sugar tax there?
Yeah,
got the sugar
it's a
tax,
cash grab.
Which even applies to diet sodas with no sugar in them.
Yes, it's a cash grab. That's all it is. No, but Philly fans are horrible with that. I used to work on the Elm. We had closed circuit TVs on the trains, and I actually watched a guy shoot another guy for wearing a Bulls jersey. All right, so
nice.
That tells you what Philly fans are.
Okay,
at least it was a good reason
when I go to Philly.
At least they had a good reason. Just you wore the wrong jersey. Here, eat a bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't shoot people for wearing the wrong things.
So, Lance, your team has the hope of a nation on its shoulders this week.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that really want their team to win too. So I mean, it's for every time you win or whatever is for every winner there's a loser. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's rough, right? I think it's one of those things where it's tough. It's just like you might be really excited and happy that your team won, but for every time that like you did that, it's like somebody else is getting kicked in the teeth because
Are
of it.
you happy tonight?
No, I mean like
somebody else's misery.
Somebody sent me a link of what was it? They sent me a link to like reactions, and like it showed it showed like some like a Saints bar, and they're all like they're watching the last seconds, and they're all just like they're all high-fiving each other, and and just all of a sudden then like they everybody's like, oh my god, like. And one guy actually like just falls over, just like because he can't believe it.
So that's why it's great to be a Bucs fan. By week 6 of the season, I'm already mathematically eliminated. I can relax and enjoy the games for what they are.
Yeah.
But they have those
better in some ways.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that. But so they have that, and I was like, okay, these are kind of cool. Little Schadenfreude, a little shameful joy going on here, and then it's one of those things where it's like, oh, like, and then they showed like this like 9-10-year-old kid like crying, because the Saints lost, and you're like, oh, well, that sucks, just because it's just kind of like, yeah, that poor kid, and he's just like,
he's not a poor kid because he cries because the football team lost.
I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I can't get excited about other people feeling bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I know some pretty cocky Saints fans, so I had no trouble with it at all.
Well, I mean, the Saints thing with the like, what?
Go to bed. Good night.
Oh, good night, buddy.
See you guys next week.
See you, Keith.
Yep. No, I mean it's just like it's like anything, it's just like it's so easy to get caught up in your own happiness that you got to realize that you're somebody's probably getting kicked in the teeth, besides you, so it's just like I that's when I'm like always like a little bit just kind of have to keep that in mind, I guess is what I'm saying.
Not with the Eagles though.
Yeah,
you don't have to keep that in mind with
teeth. Man, don't worry about it. It's a game.
It is. But
I want to see crying Eagles fans this week. I want to see pictures of that.
Oh, they won't cry
on my feed.
They won't cry.
They'll go home and abuse members of their family.
Yeah, they're gonna go home and cut their wife. Is what they're gonna do. Come back.
Why can't a woman go home and cut her husband?
That's gonna happen.
A possibility. It's a game.
Well, but
just think if
you say that, but I mean, Barry, there's probably something that you get all worked up about that other people would be like, who cares,
not really, but
oh, okay.
Not lately. Not lately. At one time I'm sure, but not lately. But with the sports, I never understood that. Like with all the money and energy and time that's put into it, if you put that towards education or something, thinking of possibilities. I never understood that mentality.
Who put it towards education though? Who? Fans?
Yeah, fans. You spend all this money on buying jerseys and hats and sports memorabilia and all that. I never understood that ever. Yeah. And I used to play baseball and football, but I never got into it to that extent.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I do enjoy very much watching football. I think it's fun and it's exciting. to watch the game unfold in front of you. So there's something to be said as far as that goes. But yeah, I don't know.
It's more than just the excitement of the game, though, right? It's that you learn the players, you learn the skills that each one of them has.
You follow the whole thing.
They're like part of the community, and you follow them game to game, so you know what they've been through, you know where they're trying to get to. It's all wrapped up into it, right? So it can definitely engulf you, especially when your team is doing well and you have the ability to watch each game. Some people don't get the opportunity to see every game, but I usually do. I don't know about you, Lance, if you watch every single game during the season.
I tried to. I missed one or two this season just because there was stuff going on. But
yeah, there was. I think there was one or two games during convention season that I missed because I was still doing teardown on a Sunday.
Yeah,
but I always watch the replay. In the
Tampa area too?
Huh?
You live in the Tampa area?
I did for 36 years. Yeah, but now I live in Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, that's right. Do you ever get down there for games?
Oh, I've been to 60 or so Bucks games in the old old Sombrero and the new stadium.
My brother's down there now, so he's getting to go to see them.
Yeah, that's a great stadium to see a game. I mean, I enjoy the stadium. I just wish the content inside the stadium was a little bit higher quality. But
you need to come to Charlotte, man, when they play the Panthers up here, because they play each other twice a year, right?
Yeah, I've thought about it. It's only a 2-hour drive for me to the Panther Stadium.
Yeah, man, come stay with me. I'll even let you wear your Buck shirt outside.
I may do that. I'll have to take a look and see when they play them this year. Yeah, the reaction videos for the Saints fans is amazing. You said that, and I went and YouTubed it. They're hilarious. People punching their TV screens, kids crying. It's awesome.
I can't believe kids are crying, though. That's weird. Like, I wouldn't think a kid would be that into football that they would cry over a loss.
If their dad is, and they're just trying to bond with their dad, that could make a kid really.
Maybe.
That's not weird at all.
It isn't if it's a sports family.
I mean, my son loves football. He plays football, but it's hard to get him to like watch a whole game with me. He wants to go outside and do stuff. He can't sit and watch a whole game. So
that's my daughter.
He would definitely never cry over a losing game.
No, my daughter wouldn't either. She actually makes fun of my team when they're losing, which I find hilarious. Because mommy's corrupted her to be a Patriots fan.
Back in '98, this is like obviously before cell phones. When we missed that field goal or when we lost that game, I threw my phone through my wall. Like I had a cordless phone, and it was like those things that they had some weight to them. And I remember I picked it up, and I was sitting there and I was watching it with my girlfriend at the time, and I said, I guarantee you he misses this kick. Then he does. And I picked up my cordless phone and I threw it against the wall, and it went through the sheetrock on one side, and then actually went through halfway on the other side. Like I was just like, yeah, that was like when I really, really cared. Like, I mean, like stupidly, ridiculously cared about it. And thankfully, I've slowly like come back to earth a little bit. Just like, cause that's one of those things where you just can't. That was too much. I was just like too much. Too much caring, in my opinion. Just like I was like, like you couldn't like I mean I was like, and then. Man, 2009 sucked so bad. It was just like one of those things where it was like we rented Brett Favre for a season, and it was beautiful. And then he choked at the worst possible moment.
Well, look at it though. You would have probably never got there if it wasn't for him that season. So you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah, maybe. What do you do? Yeah, just Why? Like that's the one thing too about sports that always drives me crazy. It's like, why do we care that much? You know? Why does it get us? Why does it consume us as so much, you know? I'm like always surprised. I'm always like surprised by that.
It's a tribal thing,
Yeah, I can see that.
you know?
Yeah.
At least we're not like fighting each other, you know, and raiding each other's villages anymore.
Well, unless you're in Philly.
For an Adrian Smith graphic novel.
What was that?
Oh, the Adrian Smith hate world, is that what you're trying to say?
No. So I actually have something I wanted to ask Pete about, or pitch to Pete. So I was watching TV today, and Running Man came on, and you can't just flip past Running Man. You can't do that. So I watched Running Man for a while, and in the process of doing so, I saw the scene, which of course everyone remembers, where the old lady is up on stage and she wins the Running Man board game. Why has no one taken the Running Man IP and made a miniatures game out of it? Because there would be great minis. The board game, like the memes already there, right? Like to promote the thing. It's super schlocky, nostalgic, like perfect for like a minis heavy board game. It's right there, and it's not like the Running Man IP is like going for so much money right now.
I don't know. It's a good question.
I also say the same thing about Total Recall though, and that bit them in the ass. I mean, that seemed like a pretty perfect match.
Yeah, but that was also like good cop, bad cop for like the fourth time. So that did not hit right. It also didn't include any miniatures. It was a social deduction game. I'm talking about like a miniatures heavy, like arena, maybe not even arena combat, but like dungeon crawl-y-ish type Running Man board game. Because, I mean, the best part about that is just watching the like crazy like gladiator people that like kept coming out. Like there, because like I watched the movie today, but like I still like before then hadn't seen the movie in years, and there's the hockey guy and the chainsaw guy and
I've never seen it.
I've never
seen it. Don't even know
You've
what you're
never
talking
seen
about.
the Running Man?
I think you'd like that, Pete.
Nope,
With
I
Arnold
have not.
Schwarzenegger, right?
Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's so good.
I actually think they're doing.
Well,
a
it's
remake.
so bad it's good, right? You know, I mean,
Yeah, it's the worst possible like thing, but yeah, it's perfect.
in the YouTube show that's Everything Wrong With about movies, they do they do one for Running Man, and they're like ripping it apart for all these things that are just like really bad. And then Schwarzenegger has this one line where he says it's something like, you know, he's like the fact that they got what's his face, the guy who hosted the Family Feud, to be the guy that's in charge of the game show. He's like, "Are you gonna make me eat my words?" or something. They're talking over like a video camera, and he says something along. Schwarzenegger goes, like he's looking, he has the camera, and he's talking to it. It's like, "I'm going to make you eat your words, Bennett, and that you better leave room for my fist because I'm gonna shove it into your stomach and rip out your spine." Like smashes the camera or something, and I'm not doing it justice. And the guy in Everything Wrong With goes, "You know what? I'm going to take 5 sins off for that." He's just like,
that is my all-time favorite YouTube channel. I watch them twice a week when they release stuff, and I listen to their podcast every Monday.
Have you I hesitate to tell you about this. Actually, you won't care. Never mind. There's another channel where it's like Everything Wrong With the Everything Wrong With channel.
Oh,
And he goes into the background of what those guys do and why they do it, and why, like, the thing is that they the guy does their things, and he actually explains why the stuff they're complaining about is actually like completely like made up bullshit that's problems with the movie. Like it's just like, so this actually isn't a problem. He's just trying to be funny, and this is and he deciphers the whole thing. Yeah, and so after I watched that, and then he actually has one where he goes into the background of the two guys, and it sounds like those two guys are slime balls, like complete and total slimy people that have like screwed over like all of their business partners prior to this.
The CinemaSins guys?
Yeah, like they had like all these different companies or something that were like basically like ad agencies, and they basically stole people's money and like went bankrupt, and like just they sat there and they made company after company after company after company trying to like make it big and actually start making money, and they would like and then they finally and then they did this, and it finally like made a name for them. And so this was but like they left like a lot of past business partners behind them. Like,
I'd want to do more research into that, because I've been following them for years and years and years, and I follow other people, and I've never heard one negative thing about them. And the film review world is super like nasty to each other. Like they're super gross. And
that's it. They talk about this guy as like not even like he like they aren't even considered. I mean, all I know is I can send you the link. I watched it, and like the guy basically he shows like the papers that they had for like all their preceding like companies and things like that, and it's just like, and he just basically and who cares, right? I mean, oh wow,
right.
Somebody who went into business and used the system to like keep themselves from going bankrupt. Fine, whatever. Who cares?
I've heard these guys, I've met these guys, and from what I understand, like they were just two guys that worked together in a movie theater for like since they were teenagers all the way till they were adults. Like it's like the only job they've ever held, and they started doing like stupid like super cuts of YouTube like videos that got really popular. Like they did like, I think their first big one was like they did Fast and the Furious, but it was just the shifting. And then they got like stuff like that got them traction, and then they came up with the Everything Wrongs with, and it just took off.
Just like I said, I mean, it's like it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm sure it won't ruin the fun of watching the episodes for you.
Speaking of episodes, have any of you watched the Netflix series The Toys That Made Us?
I watched a little bit of it.
Phenomenal.
I haven't been able to watch it.
I watched the two I cared about, and I didn't think it was.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
How many of them are there?
4. There's 4, but there's going to be 8. And the first 4.
I was going to say the theme song said 8.
Yeah, they did Star Wars, Barbie, G.I. Joe, and He-Man for the first 4.
Okay.
And then the next 4 I don't know. Yeah, they're still coming out. They didn't do the whole season like they do with most of their stuff. They're actually releasing them every couple weeks or something. I liked it a lot. It brought back a lot of memories.
I'm a generation removed from that as well. So
well, yeah, you won't appreciate a lot of it. We lived through most of it, so we were playing with those toys where you probably weren't.
I've never seen an episode of He-Man in my life.
It's on Netflix. It's awesome. Well, I guess it's awesome if you remember it from the beginning. Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm 27.
Oh, okay. I thought you were a little older for some reason.
No, I'm generally not getting to where not so much anymore, but generally I'm pretty much the youngest person wherever I go gaming at. Like whenever I go to a game meetup, I'm typically going to be the youngest person there.
Did you have any older brothers or
me?
sisters?
No, I have an older sister by like a year.
All right.
Yeah, that wouldn't appeal to you because none of the nostalgia bug won't kick in for most of that stuff for you.
Yep. It doesn't hit me. It's the same reason I like film. Like I'm a huge film buff. Like that's my like other passion is like film. But like even I like Star Wars a lot, but I like it because hey, spaceships blow up. I don't care at all about Star Wars as a thing. Like it just doesn't speak to me on any kind of level.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you, sort of. Like, I missed the first trilogy by a couple years. Not as many as you, but a few years. You know, so I don't really have the nostalgia thing like Lance and them guys do.
But it does
But
make
with the toys.
Oh, go ahead.
Good.
Oh, I'm saying yeah. The Star Wars thing is just weird though, because people talk about Star Wars like it's like this very grailish type thing, and I'm just kind of looking at it from an outsider's perspective, like it's really like a really cheesy sci-fi series. Like it's big budget and it's good, but it's just a sci-fi space movie. Like I don't see the thing that everybody else sees because it's not that deep. Like it's not that. I don't see what everyone else sees.
See, I didn't miss it by that much. To be that, it wasn't that cheesy to me when I did see it. Yeah, when I did see it.
You say that, but it's one of those things where it's like, you know, and that's fine, you know, but the big thing about it is that, and I actually like I wrote a thing about this. See, you're not old enough, and you just when movies weren't this big of a deal when we were young. You know, I mean, it was just like they just weren't a big deal.
Yeah,
and that's
a big part of it, man. And Star Wars was like nothing we've ever seen.
Yeah,
before when
I remember the day my dad just said, "I heard there's this movie that they say is pretty good. Let's go see it." You know, and I went, and it literally at 6 years old, I never sat through a movie.
Yep.
Ever.
And I was
one just boom. It just
you were born in like what 69, 70, Lance?
71.
I was 68. Yeah. It blew me away, and it's my best movie experience even till this day when I saw that movie at 8 years old.
Look at it this way, Joe. So when that movie came out, and I mean I can't speak for every little girl, but every
are you sure?
Yes, you can.
Put your snow pants on.
Every little boy, every
what's this
little boy, every little boy in America wanted to be Luke Skywalker. It was like now when you think of what kids like to play with, like, oh, they have all these different things, they have iPads and they have all these things. When you went out to play, you grabbed a stick and that was your lightsaber, and you pretended to be Luke Skywalker, and you would get into fights with people over who got to be Luke Skywalker when you went outside and played pretend.
Or if you were me and I were a hairy Italian kid, you were Chewbacca.
You know, it was like an argument over who to be Luke Skywalker, and then an argument over who had to be a Han Solo, and then you would.
Why would anyone pick Luke over Han?
Because back then, everybody, because Luke was the hero. Luke was the guy.
Was the cool one in episode.
Luke blew up the Death Star.
Han was really a greasy.
Whoa! Spoilers.
Guy.
Han didn't get popular until after Empire. Luke was all about Luke Skywalker all the way up till Empire Strikes Back came out. Then it was all about Han Solo.
And even after Empire, it was still Luke still got to do the fun stuff. He got to hang out with Yoda, who was cool. What did Han do? He got to get frozen. Luke got to fight Darth Vader.
Han got a kiss, man.
Han got a little.
So did Luke. So did Luke.
Yeah. Different kind of action.
No, but I mean,
not at the time it wasn't.
So, okay, actually, and I don't mean to be political here, but like I've seen a few people. I respect their opinion, even though I disagree with them on this. I've had a couple of people that say that like they'll never watch The Empire Strikes Back again because of the fact that it perpetuates a male domination, kiss the girl without her wanting to, kind of like sexual assault thing that goes on.
Where? When?
Between Han and Leia.
In the Falcon?
I feel
guess
that way
if
about
she
the Little
wanted
Mermaid with
I
that
guess it's not
Sebastian
backing
song "Kiss the
but-
Girl." It's just
Yeah.
too far.
Yeah.
I won't watch Little Mermaid.
That's basically every movie before like 2010.
I know.
Sleeping Beauty.
I watch all John Wayne movies, man.
It is funny when you watch stuff in succession. And I went through like a binging of like just popular 80s movies, like the John Woo stuff and everything. And it was so comical to me how date rape was just a common subplot in so many movies in the 80s. Like every movie there was like, oh yeah, date rape. Like this is a thing that we're going to joke about for the entire like run of the movie. And it's like so many of them. It just was something. But
Well, but here's the thing: is like, so I don't know. How do I step around this one? So,
Good luck.
Don't dig yourself a hole.
so my problem with it is that it's just like that's so. Can you? I don't know. It's just like does. And I guess I wish I understood it. I mean, I don't see, and maybe this is my fault. I don't know, but I mean, I don't see Han Solo as somebody that is sexually assaulting Princess Leia. You know, it doesn't, and I don't know. And maybe I'm weird. Maybe I don't get it.
Well, there's a thin line
not weird.
because here's the thing: if Princess Leia hated Han Solo, then it's clearly not cool, and that's how it used to be. I mean, even when I was, 17, 18, 19, 20, it's like if you thought that the girl was digging you, you could go for the kiss, and that was acceptable because there was obviously mutual attraction. And now I'm glad that I'm not living, in my single days back then because I feel like I would be a lot more scared to just go for the kiss, go for the home run, so to speak. Because fucking this made up rape culture,
You can't go for the home run. You can go for the kiss, but not the home run.
Well, the kiss leads to the home run. I mean, obviously. Hopefully.
You'd be in jail, basically.
Yeah, it's a lot less acceptable.
Don't worry,
And
Chief.
that's
The
changed,
game
I
would
think,
get
just
delayed
like the
from
last
smoke
2
on the
years.
field. So,
But didn't
So, Lance, I have a
Leia,
question. So, if I was going to watch a film that took place, I don't know, let's say 1900s, early 1900s, or late 1800s, when women didn't have the right to vote, and the movie portrayed that, would that be wrong by today's standards to enjoy a movie like that or watch a movie like that?
I don't know, man.
No.
It's one of those things where it's like I am at this point in my life where it's like my wife actually just said to me, "Aren't you glad you don't date anymore?" I was like, God, I wouldn't even know what to do.
well, there's
I would just be like, I mean, seriously, and okay.
All you'd have to do is put on your snow pants.
I'm gonna say something, and once again, I'm saying this from the viewpoint of not somebody that is being, I'm not trying to sound sexist. I'm not trying to sound anything. Because I'm very confused and I don't understand, so I apologize to anybody who listens to this and thinks that I'm being blunt or that there's a lot of things that I get and I understand, right? I mean, I understand that there's like a certain level of respect that you need to give to everybody, and our society is changing and altering, and the fact that it's making people like myself uncomfortable because I don't understand what's going on is in a lot of ways a good thing, right? It means that we're evolving and we're changing, and it's going to take like people that are kind of entrenched in like mentalities that may not be exactly healthy or perfect. Like it's a price that those people have to pay to like be uncomfortable and not understand what's going on and like feel that resistance towards like, well, whoa, what's the problem here? And I mean, and I'd be totally wrong to say that I don't. I feel like that where I like when I hear things about like stuff that like I was like, well, what's the big deal with that, and the problem I see is that so if there's this, I wonder, like is it I always have these weird questions, and like I think, well, then it shouldn't matter, right? So like where was this, like, 5 years ago? Why, and but it's like anything else, there's a groundswell of it, right? People that like kind of get awoken into the idea of, wait a minute, this isn't cool. And a lot of things is that maybe that whole process, the date culture or whatever that we've been living through, and having this like really like kind of like a weird kind of male dominated possess the woman, take the woman kind of mentality that like a lot of people like have, like it's just been there, right? It's like the objectification of the situation and of the woman, like that's something you need to claim. In a lot of ways, it's weird that, like, how do I put this? It's like you have a situation there where it's okay for me not to understand it if it ultimately leads to things becoming better and becoming a world where like my daughter will grow up and like won't be like she won't have the same like situations to deal with that like my sister did or my mother did, and my son will grow up in a world where like they won't act like myself and the other a-holes that I knew when we were at the bar in our 20s when we were like scoping out girls, and that's a good thing. But I mean, it's also like one of those things too where it's like, is there a rush to punish what shouldn't be punished, and I don't know, it's tough for me to wrap my mind around it.
I think I want to hit on one thing you just said there. I don't think that meant is my picture XSplit broadcaster?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Besides, okay, I'll fix that. I don't think that's ever going to change, Lance. People at the bar, dudes at the bar, are always going to be like that. And I think you could go back to the Wild West, and that is always how it's going to be. You get 4 or 5 dudes around who are single and who want to have sex. That is inevitably going to happen. I think that is just hardwired into our brain. I think that will be the same way in 100 years. Granted, I mean, bars are probably going to go the way of the dodo bird eventually, but I just think I disagree with that point. That is always going to be the case. Same with teenage boys up until their mid-20s. I think that's going to be the case. And obviously not everybody, but I just think that's going to be how it is.
I mean, eventually we'll get to the point where we're all having Demolition Man sex, right?
I agree with you, Lance. I think it's good for us to think about this stuff and ask the question and see it from different perspectives. And I think some change is definitely needed and warranted and good. What I don't like is when people are condemned who are really kind of innocent, right? When this stuff is projected onto everybody. Like I can give you an example of just myself recently. I just did that Book of Dragons Kickstarter, and I had like 20 different designers all design a game with this deck of cards. Martin Wallace did one, a whole bunch of different designers that you have heard of. So I sent a bunch out for review, and a female reviewer wrote me back, and her question was, hey, why aren't there any female designers on this game? You did all these games and they're all men. And it was kind of like I was taken aback at the question. I thought it was an interesting question, but it's not like I went out hunting for only men. Do you know what I mean? Like if there was females available that I knew or worked with or had, were available to me, I would have asked them like I asked everybody else. But it was kind of this kind of insinuation that I didn't search it out. You know what I mean? I don't think that's my job, right? Like there's not many women in this industry. Let's face it. You go to a convention, what's the percentage really? Under 5% still?
Well, so
Robert, I've been hearing that since I've gotten into the hobby, and it's nothing against you or people throwing that at you. It's like you said, it's the numbers. It's simply there aren't that many women designers in the hobby, and I don't think there are that many women players out in public in the hobby. I'm sure there is privately at home, with their partners or whatever. But out in public, I don't think there are that many.
Here's the other thing too. I think if you would have put 1 in there, people would have bitched about there only being 1.
Yeah.
I really think 2 is the sweet number. Like if you would have got 2, nobody would have said a damn thing. You put 1, people are gonna bitch. You put 0, people are gonna bitch.
Yeah. Or if she's white, they're gonna bitch.
I guess my point is this, fine, call it out, and I think it's great. Like my question back was, I'd love to have a female designer. Do you know any? I don't know any, literally. I don't know a single one. Is that because I'm a sexist, though?
I have a hypothetical that I'd like to pose that comes at this kind of same thing from a different direction, though. Okay, so you can't control how many female designers are out there. That's not within your realm of control, right? But you're a board game publisher. So you're going to publish a board game.
I want to go that far.
Right. But okay, but you're going to put this game on Kickstarter, and in this game there are 20 character cards that you can collect. Okay? So as a publisher, do you just not make that much of a decision, or do you specifically say, okay, I've got 20 characters to collect in this game? Are 10 of them men and 10 of them women? Are 4 of them African American? Are 3 of them Asian? Are 2 of them, of Hispanic nature? Do you go through it and do you actually make those specific decisions for inclusivity, or do you just publish the game? And I think because I'm curious what people think, because from my perspective, I don't think it hurts the publisher in any way to make and to think about games from that perspective. And I think it's good that we're getting to a point where people are, because I have a lot of games from the last 5-10 years on my shelf. And I would say of all the characters that are in the game, unless it's set in an Asian culture, it's all white men that are in any kind of character card.
That's a different question, and that's a good question. I've got a game coming out with WizKids in May called Doppelganger, and it is exactly 10. There's 20 characters, or not 18 characters. 9 are men, 9 are women, and all the races are represented in that game.
Is the sausage merchant still in there?
Yes, it is. And Anthony was not very happy with the sausage merchant.
Yeah.
Hey, wasn't I supposed to be a character in there? I got cut, didn't I? I got cut. Yeah.
How many?
No, you're in Overpowered Arena, Lance. You're not in Doppelganger. You're in Overpowered Arena.
It's so awesome that he's the sausage.
How many trans characters do you have in Doppelganger?
Yeah, that's kind of offensive.
Yeah.
No, there's no trans. Well, I guess any one of them could be. I mean, do I have to show them naked or something?
No, you just have to put their pronoun.
How do I make them trans? Do I have to put trans under the name?
You just put their pronoun at the bottom. Their
Which one?
Pronoun.
What is the trans? Pronoun. Is there a trans pronoun?
I guess. I don't know. You have to ask the trans community.
See, that's not my job as a publisher to reach out to the trans community.
Oh, okay. So inclusivity is, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. No, but
no, the answer is, and this is interesting because I did that for Doppelganger because it worked in the setting of that game very well. And I thought that was a really good thing that I could do. However, if I was making a Viking game, for example, I'm not going to do that. If it was a historical Viking game, because they're Nordic people, right? It's like if I did an Egyptian game, they're going to be dark-skinned Egyptians. I'm not going to have white Egyptians in my Egyptian-themed game, right? Like, it makes sense in some themes, but in other themes, especially more historical themes, it gets silly. It just looks stupid.
So
that's my opinion.
So the question arose on BGG a while ago. Uwe Rosenberg's Nussfjord, whatever the new one he put out at Essen was, right? So there's like 20 elders in the game or something like that, all white men. But it's a game about a fishing village back in the, I don't know, fishing village days of Norwegian area. But it's a fictitious setting in a real world setting. And people were very mad, like, why not even one woman in this deck of cards about people? And all of these other people were like, well, historically there wouldn't have been women, and it's like, well, it's not like it's a historical game. It's a game about a fishing village. I was like, is there harm in putting women in there, or is it just who cares? Like, I'm just curious about what that conversation is.
Right. To me, it depends on the theme totally. Like a fantasy theme where Doppelganger is set, it works just fine because it's a fantasy theme, right? But if it was ancient Egypt, or if it was Vikings, or if it was something else about a culture that was a certain race, then I'm going to make them that race.
So do you think in an instance like that, is that a designer's job to catch, or is that a publisher's job to catch?
Ultimately, it's the publisher's job, but I'm a little different because I design the games and I publish my own, so I make all those choices. But even the games I publish, the publishers pretty much take what I did, what I gave them. I mean, I haven't had an instance where it's been changed drastically by anybody so far.
So out of just pure curiosity, Lance, does TMG have these conversations, or do they have these conversations about games that they publish, like where these actual things are talked about and like, hey, we should make these decisions because this promotes inclusivity for the game?
We most certainly do. We discuss things and we try to make sure that, I mean, there's so many things that we talk about as far as, when we're presenting a game. I mean, like, for example, I mean, like we discussed at length for Crusaders that will be done. We talked at length about the possibility that this would be an offensive game to some people. As far as the fact that the Crusades were a religiously inspired mass murder, basically. I mean, and so and we wanted to make sure that that we presented it in such a way that wasn't offensive, and that we definitely went and approached it with a with a, what's the word I'm looking for here, with a good presentation. We wanted to handle it gently and Seth brought up a really good thing that'll be on the in the rule book, discussing the period in time and what it was and this, that, and the other thing kind of stuff. So I mean, it's yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where I thought that you have to, I mean, it's just at the very least you have to have the discussion. You have to say.
Is it historically accurate?
What?
Is the game historically accurate?
I mean, it is to a certain extent, but not really.
I mean, but I would say, like, even to TMG's, like, TMG deluxeified Yokohama, and they added stickers. Like, I mean, you had no agency in the game before TMG got it, but you threw stickers on the meeple, and the decision was made that 2 of these stickers will represent female genders for the business people that you represent.
Yeah, and?
No, I'm saying, like, that decision was made that, hey, we're going to make these actual people, half of them will be women. So that's.
What were you saying, bud? Forrest?
Oh, I was going to just say, I feel like since Lance got there, it's gotten a lot better, because I know I was really disappointed that there was no female fighters in Jab.
So I was like, here comes the joke. Here it comes.
Lance, I'm looking at Crusaders.
Took a jab.
I don't see female Crusaders either.
Well,
I mean, would it have hurt Lance to throw one female Crusader in there?
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Yes, because there were no female Crusaders.
Well, honestly, it's a moot point. The theme doesn't come across that. I mean, I think it's a fantastic game. I really enjoyed it, but the theme is, yeah. I mean,
Crusaders.
I just, it's one of those things where I guess I have this like mentality of that. I want to be understanding, and I want to listen to people's concerns, but and where's the point where where's the point where you're like, okay, this is dumb, and maybe there isn't a point where you say this is dumb. I don't know. I just I don't know. I just it's tough, right? And and the thing is too, it's like I want to live in a world where I can actually express what I really feel, but not in a way that where I'm like a jackhole about it. I mean, I'm like actually like express. It's like, hey, this is why this is confusing to me, and this is why this bothers me, or this is why I feel uncomfortable in this situation, and I want to feel comfortable enough to think that people are going to listen to what I have to say, and they're actually going to discuss it with me, and not just immediately say, "Oh, well, you're part of the entrenched white male oligarchy, and that's why you think this, that, the other thing." And it's just and I think that a lot of people don't. I think there's a lot of creation, and there's a lot of things that I mean, and I'm not saying the majority. I'm not when I say a lot, I'm saying it's more than it's a substantial portion, I guess. But I mean, of people that just don't engage, they don't create, they don't do things just because they've been, they've gotten to that point where it's just it's just and it's on both sides, honestly. I mean, it's just and maybe it's right. Maybe it's right that if the people that have been the minorities and the people that have been objectified or whatever, maybe it's their turn. Maybe it's time for them to be empowered and to be able to stand up and take control. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. It's just it's exhausting is what it is. It is. It's super exhausting. It's just it's I always try to understand everybody's point of view on things, right? I mean, it's this stupid thing. I mean, as dumb as it was, I mean, I don't normally engage, or I try not to engage on a political comment, but somebody saying that oh, there's no way that our president was physically healthy or whatever, that the doctor was lying. And then I actually said, you do realize that's a doctor, it's he was the person basically said, oh, they imported, he's got his personal doctor telling us all that he's perfectly healthy. It's such a crock of crap, whatever. And I was like, you do know that doctor is still there. He was actually installed into that position by Obama. So, it's I mean, it's not his personal physician by any means. Oh, well, he knows what side the bread's buttered on. It's just there are so many shitty things that he's done that you can point at that that I will agree 1,000% with you about Trump. But I mean, it's just why would you complain about what a doctor said is his weight was? It's just find a legitimate concern and point out that maybe he's just a gas bag and you don't appreciate some of the things he says. And I can back you up on that. I don't know. I just we're in such a weird world right now that I don't even want to engage anybody in any conversation of any substance that isn't some member of my family or a close friend, because if you talk to anybody that's a mere acquaintance, you're just going to get into just some sort of weird pissing match that that you don't know them and they don't know you, and so nobody's got any skin in the game. Nobody's got anything at risk at the table, so you're both gonna just sit there and trade body blows, anonymously over the internet for several hours, and nobody's gonna learn anything.
I've got an interesting question. You kind of just talking about the Trump thing and what we were talking about a little bit earlier. Is we're moving towards this incredibly, oh my God, we don't want to offend anybody at any point, anywhere, anytime attitude, despite the fact Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, they control the presidency, and they have a very opposite of that attitude. And I'm wondering in 2020, if we go Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders or somebody incredibly liberal, is that going to multiply? Because they're all about the tolerance and the equality of the power and everything, which I'm all for. But is that going to make that situation even worse? Like, I never thought about that before, but I wonder if that's going to be something that happens if the pendulum does swing incredibly Democrat.
As screwed up as this country is, I mean, right now, or like, I think it's. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen over the next 3 years, obviously, but I mean, I keep waiting for the huge backlash. I keep waiting for the huge, like, I can't believe, the GOP is whatever. And I'm waiting for, I know Robert's just chomping on the bit here. I'm waiting for him to jump in. But
why would I be chomping on the bit?
Just because I know where your mindset is.
I'm a capitalist, 100%. I'm not a political person. I'm a capitalist.
Okay, well, so you were the one who called me Chairman Mao at Dice Tower.
Yes, I did. Because that was a joke. You know that.
I know, it was funny though. Hence the joke. But no. So
you were going on about workers' rights and stuff.
Well, yeah. How crazy am I? No. It's like I don't. I mean, I honestly don't. I think our country is just. I mean, people talk about it's like, oh well, we'll have him out of there in 2020. It's like, well, I mean, who knows if he's even there or if he's even going to run? But I don't think the presidency switching to Democrat is a shoo-in by any means. It's.
Right. I think it depends on who it is. I think if it's Bernie Sanders, it's going to be a huge landslide.
He's not going to run. I'm just going to tell you that right now. He's not. I think
if they try and shove Oprah or somebody who has no experience at all, then he will. I think if they try and put like a Cory Booker or somebody who's a stone cold Democrat that's clearly taken money from each in every way, I think he might. I think it all depends on his health and that. I think if it's Elizabeth Warren, he won't. But I think if it's somebody who's not going to win or somebody who's not going to change that much, I think he will, because he is the most popular politician in America now. Like the popularity has not waned or died down.
I don't think there's lots of people that aren't fans of him.
There are, but there's also
thing is that there's way less middle. It seems. Or the middle isn't having discussions anymore. It's only the left and right fighting each other. And that gets to me. Like people either think Trump is like the Antichrist and they hate every single thing he does, or everything he does is like great. Yeah. And it's in the middle somewhere. For every president, it is. How could you agree with every single policy a president puts forward? I don't understand that.
Yeah. It's not about agreeing with everything. It's about agreeing with the majority of it. I mean, that's just personal. But here's where I disagree with you, Lance. If there was more than 50% of the country did not vote, and if you got somebody like Bernie Sanders, all those millennials, and I hate to blame millennials because everybody fucking does it. All those
still wouldn't go and vote.
I don't think so, dude.
You are tying your belief onto like people. Look year in, year out. I mean, voter apathy is huge, and it doesn't change. It doesn't change.
But that's because most of the people, aside from Obama, who really has, and Trump, honestly, who's really talked about just breaking the window, shattering everything, changing everything. We haven't had, Obama said he wanted to change.
Yeah, and he didn't really do much.
He did not. I mean, he inched stuff forward, but Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are two completely different beasts. They've talked about breaking windows and just shattering everything, the whole political system, and that gets people excited. And I think the people who don't vote, a lot of them, if Bernie Sanders did it, they would go out and do it. Just like Trump got a lot of people.
Your love affair with Bernie is
give me the weed, man. Give me the weed. Give me the robots. Give me the universal basic income. Give me all that. I want to sit home and make board game videos.
Yeah. Okay. I
think you're underselling Bernie, though. I really think if he ran, and if he announced it a couple of years in advance, the Democratic Party would have to anoint him like they anointed Hillary.
He would never
win.
He would never win.
No, he would, because
He's a
there would be such
socialist.
a gigantic backlash. They can't do that twice in a row. They could not get away with doing that twice in a row.
No, he would
Too
He's
much
a
of the country knows how
Democrat
screwed he is.
socialist.
He would
Yes.
he would not win. He would not win the presidential election.
I think Forrest is just really backing Bernie because Bernie's sponsored by Doritos.
Yes.
Yes.
I think you underestimate just. I mean, I saw it firsthand in a red state. I've never volunteered to do anything politically. I volunteered at one of his rallies, and it's insane. It is like I've never was live for the Beatles, but it was like Beatle frickin' mania. The line was probably like a quarter mile long just to get in the rain in Indiana of all places. The guy was filling up stadiums on the West Coast. I mean, granted, he ended up losing California, but at that point it was a foregone conclusion. Hillary was going to lose. I just think if he had 2 years to actually build up the momentum and get people excited, he would crush anyone in front of him.
Yeah, but half of those people are too stoned to vote on election day. They don't show up.
Well, that's why we need 2018 when we need the midterms to make voting easier.
Yeah, but by then all those people are Republicans because they got a job.
I think this year is going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Oh, the midterms?
I think the midterms are actually going to be really important.
Oh yeah, I think the Democrats are going to take the House and probably the Senate. That's how our politics works, though. It's a pendulum. It swings back and forth. And to me, that is a great thing about our system. You don't want one party in power too long, because if they go too far left or right, that's when stuff gets horrible. You want
just
to
out of
swing back
curiosity,
and forth.
What do you think about his actual policies? I mean, we talk too much about how he's a caricature. Trump, like his actual policies.
I think his wall and immigration policies are the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. That's probably what I think is the stupidest crap he's doing. I think he's a megalomaniac, and that's not good, and a narcissist. But as far as his policy goes, I think I'm a fan of his economic policies and his foreign policies. I think they're working, and that's what we should want is results. So, I mean, there's things I hate about him, and there's a couple things I like about him. Not him, but what he's doing.
The big thing is that they will, whoever, if people identify as a Democrat or people identify as a Republican, like Robert said, the middle is gone. So if you identify as Republican, people have difficulty actually pointing, accepting the fact that their candidate or their president has serious issues, because they're just oh well, because I really like this, that, and the other thing about what he does. So I mean, so they back him for that. And the exact same thing is for people that are Democrats and with Obama. It's just the fact that there's things like the number of drone strikes that and innocent people that Obama okayed and had people killed. It's was a ton. It's and I pointed that out. It's this isn't something I like about it, and they're oh well, but this other things and stuff, or he's still better than so and so. It's just everybody needs to just nod their head and say, yeah, there's problems with the person that I voted for. And I hate the blind faith.
Yeah.
And the people that are in the middle that have no candidate that we can really believe in. It's kind of I don't know. We're the ones that are screwed. I mean, I would love to blindly follow a candidate and just believe in everything that they do, but it's just, I can't, because they all suck.
Well, here's another thing, and why I think that Trump is going to get crushed is he's just pissing off too many diverse groups.
He's got 3 years to fix it, though.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: is a great economy. It won't matter if the economy is great in 3 years. It's going to come down to that, really.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing is if people actually say, "Wow, well we have," or and who knows? Tom Hanks said something right after Trump was elected. They asked, "What do you think about Donald Trump being going to be the president?" And his quote was, I hope he does such an amazing job that we reelect him again. But that wasn't him saying, I think he's going to do an amazing job, or I think the guy's an amazing person, or anything like that. He just basically said, I hope he does such an amazing job that we overwhelmingly elect him again.
That's how I feel about it too, really. I mean, like, as a person, I think he's an asshole. I mean, but some of his policies seem to be working pretty well so far. I mean, a lot of it's because he's pro-business, and business has been investing based on the things he's been saying he's going to do, but he's starting to get them done, like the tax breaks. And, you know, I just posted something on my Facebook page that black unemployment now is the lowest it's been in 45 years. Like, that's a big... Like, that's a big
lot
deal.
of that
Employment has been trickling that way for a long time, though, for like the last 5 or 6 years. I mean,
no,
okay, so like, Forrest, what if
my point? It's been the lowest it's been in 45 years, not 8 years or 6 years or 4 years. 45
it's been taking that direction. I mean, I'm glad that it's that way, but I mean,
what if in a year it's even better?
It's been taking that way for like the last 6 years.
What I'm saying is that, but I mean, so that see, that's the thing though. It's like, even if like everybody's like, anything that's good that a president does, if you don't agree with that president, it's because it's nothing to do with them. But anything that's bad, it's him, it's them, it's all him. You know, it's just, and it's the same for everybody. And nobody can actually just take a look and just say, you know, Bill Burr said something perfectly. He's like, you're getting mad at the president. That's like you yelling at the ticket counter at an airline when your plane is late. You know, because, you know, that person has nothing to do with why your plane isn't on the runway. So you're going to miss your connection. But, you know, it's just like, they're like sitting there. It's like, my last name isn't United. I didn't do this. You know, it's like the things that are fucking you, like it has nothing to do with the president. Yeah, it's just it's business, and it's the rich, and it's those things. It's those systemic things that have just been like crushing the poor for so many years, and it's just so people getting and the thing is that in a weird, crazy way, like, I like believe, you know, just like I believe in conspiracy just enough to believe that, like, having Trump being president is just some huge, like, the real people with power, the people with the money, the people that have like so much money, it's absolutely ridiculous how much money they have, like, put him there, because now all these people that would normally maybe look at the people that had the money, that were like bending people over and fucking them and taking their pensions and everything else, it's this perfect baboon that people can look at.
John Oswald.
Oswald. Yeah, it's this perfect like thing, like monkey throwing feces at his buddies, and we're all just staring at that instead of staring at the problem.
Case Keenum for president.
Who's that?
Teddy Bridgewater for president, man. Let's be progressive here, Pete.
I know what I'm voting for. Bed. Good night, everyone.
Good night, buddy.
Yeah, that election's a long way off, but I think the Democrats are going to take back the House for sure.
I think if the Democrats do stupid Democrat stuff and appoint someone who's just like Hillary Light, I think they're going to actually go with a liberal, like a straight up liberal leaning that way. They're gonna win. Like Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders.
God, you just keep throwing these names out like they're like these.
That's like the worst choices ever, both of them.
You do realize that, like I mean, it's as much as you might love either of those two, like they're not like you need to get the middle. I mean, you can't win.
See, I disagree. I think you need to get the independence.
No. Oh, jeez.
I think you need to get the independence. They
swing. No, that's the middle. That's the middle. Those are the people that don't know what they want to vote for. And the people, and the thing is that I hate to break it to you, but people like the middle weren't excited about Bernie in any way at all.
The people in the middle want jobs, right? They don't want people coming in that are anti-business, which they both are for the most part. Especially if the pro-business is working for them. And it is right now.
See, and I think if someone went on a universal basic income, they could get it. Because you know what people want more than jobs? They want free money. They want free money. They want free healthcare. They want free, freaking free. And if somebody can give them free or put out the potential for free, they're going to win. Because as much as you're pro-capitalism, you can't disagree with me that if you offer people free money that they can live on and not have to work, whoever does that is going to crush eventually.
Where is this free money going to come from?
Probably from China, just like the money that Trump took, just like the money the Republicans took, I should say. I mean, it doesn't matter where the money came from. The Republicans, and I say that just because it's literal, just pulled $1.5 trillion out of nowhere. Like, money can come from anywhere. Don't make it sound like, oh my gosh, we don't have the money to do this and that. We literally just pulled $1.5 trillion out of our ass. Okay, Lance? Don't make it sound like it's about money.
Yeah, it is about money, though. And the thing is that you can't just you want to say it's $1.5 trillion that we just pulled out of our ass.
Isn't it 1.5 trillion?
I don't know, but you can't just keep pulling $1.5 trillion over and over again. You can't just print more money and then money exists. It doesn't work like that. We've had this discussion before, I believe.
Yes. Are you kidding me? That's literally just what the Republicans did. And I'm not saying that as a negative thing. They literally just pulled $1.5 trillion out of their ass in that Republican tax plan.
Okay, but
Tell me they did not.
Well, you're right. The Republicans spend money just as much as Democrats do. Absolutely.
They spend money to make money, which I think is the big difference.
Right. Well, and they're going to spend money here on the infrastructure. They will pass an infrastructure bill, and it's going to be huge. It's going to probably be $1 trillion.
That's going to be fantastic. That is one of the big things that Bernie was about that I absolutely, because it's not a sexy topic. Infrastructure is never sexy, but
so Bernie and Trump will agree on something,
that creates a boatload of jobs too. Oh yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities.
But they have to work for it, though. You said people don't want to just take the money and sit at home.
Yeah, if they get Lance, really, are you being contrarian now?
That's what you just said. You said, and I quote, people want to just get money for nothing.
That universal wage is the stupidest idea in the history of the planet.
No, once robots start taking over, it's really going to become a very real thing. You laugh. No, it's not. Walmart's starting to do it. McDonald's is starting to do it. Uber is going to start doing it. Everyone is going to start doing it, and these jobs are going to disappear. They're going to disappear, and they're going to disappear fast when a bunch of different... You know what, Lance? We're going to be friends for a very long time, and one of these days, I will rub this... You're going to... Robots, man. Robots and automation.
They said that when they invented the wheel. They said that when the automobile was invented. They said that when computers were invented.
The difference
is always the next horizon. We're going to keep moving forward, Forrest. There will be new, more creative jobs for us.
Robots
Forrest, I'm going to say this. I find it very hard to take you very seriously because of the fact that I know that somewhere in the back of your head is that you want to have that happen so you can just sit at home and smoke weed all day and play board games.
Yes. I'm brutally honest about it. And you know what? The majority of the country would love to do that, except replace board games with video games, or spending time with your family, or a combination of both.
But wouldn't you rather do that than having a job that you love?
I do have a job that I really, really enjoy.
Well, then why do you need universal income?
So are robots going to teach those kids instead of you then?
Now, that's one of the jobs that will be. But there's so many jobs that won't be, Lance. And I mean, I don't understand how anyone can argue against it. Pretty much everybody working at Walmart, 95% of the people working at Walmart, one of the largest companies in the world, and Target, and every single grocery store could be replaced by a robot in the next 5 years if they wanted them to.
Okay. So who's going to like do all like the shipping?
Yes, there's computer technicians and all that stuff, and the people who have to upkeep and all that stuff. But that's you're still cutting off 85% of the workforce there.
Who's going to who's going to, like, people are still going to use cash. Who's gonna take the money? Who's gonna collect the money? Who's going to count the money?
You just asked me who's going to collect have you never put money into a slot or dollars into a dollar bill?
No, but I mean, but if I have a question, hey, where are the peaches?
You don't think a robot could tell you the exact aisle? You couldn't just type
Your iPhone will tell you.
My point is that people are always going to want the human interaction, you know?
And it's not about what people want. It's about money. And they're going to make so much money.
But if you have okay, whatever. Just, so what's the timeline? 5 years? So
it should be 5 years, but it's probably going to be closer to about 15 years, I think.
Okay.
And how much will this universal income be?
I don't know. It depends on where you live. I would imagine. I mean, my house is $44,000. I mean, and the same house would be like $250,000 somewhere else. It depends on the area.
So if I moved to San Francisco, I'd get like a $500,000 check a year or something.
I never lived in San Francisco, but that's a rudimentary thing to the. I mean,
it isn't rudimentary. He's poking a hole in your theory here, and that's something that you have to actually recognize.
State by state by state would vary. I imagine it would go by the cost of living in your area.
So if everybody has, if that's the case, why the hell would I want to live in Iowa and not San Francisco?
Because some people like to live in Iowa. I mean, I don't know who the hell it is, but
but it's all about the money, right? So
why it's not. People are not. I mean, they've done this in various different states. It's not states, but areas. It's not about getting rich. It's about surviving. And here's the other thing. I want to go back to something, Lance. You very flippantly said, "Where's the money come from? Where's the money come from? Where's the money come from?" And then I specifically pointed to an exact example of the 1.5 trillion with a T.
Yes.
And Republicans pulled out of thin air. Why could the Democrats not do the same thing?
Okay, that is damaging to the economy, though. You look at countries like Greece and Italy and things like that, where rampant inflation occurs and their money is worth absolutely nothing. Like banks shut down on a regular basis because those countries just decided, well, we need more money, print some more.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying, why could the Democrats eventually not do the exact same thing? Like, don't make it sound like it's not a thing you can do.
Well, but it is a thing you shouldn't do.
Well, no joke.
Okay, so but why are you a proponent for it then?
Because I think in the long run it would be better for the country. What we're doing with the money, what the Republicans are doing with the money in the long run, I don't think is going to be better, because after 15 or 20 years, it's like huge, massive tax breaks for the 1%.
Because
and I mean that's pretty much, yeah. I don't think that's good because it's never been good. I'm just saying, trying something vastly different, I don't see how it could be any worse.
I don't know. We're almost at full employment right now. Unemployment is really low right now, and we're going to start seeing wages go up and up and up. That's
unemployment is going to drop like a rock if we go to $15. Like that $15 thing, I secretly want it, despite the fact I hate the idea of it, because I make $11 an hour. And that would completely screw up the entire infrastructure of
robot would do it for $1 an hour.
What? That would completely screw up the infrastructure of so many places, the cost of living of so many places. If all of a sudden the guy working at McDonald's is making the same as, somebody else who before was making $13 an hour. I'm very against the $15 minimum wage, just as a flat thing.
Well, it's just not going to happen.
And I'm not talking about the minimum wage. I'm not talking about a government regulated wage. I'm just saying that when when we're at full employment, wages are going to naturally go up just because of competition in the job market. That's what free markets do. Free markets and capitalism have lifted more people out of poverty than any government ever has.
Are you kidding me? That's the exact opposite. That's why.
No.
Well, that's why there is a minimum wage. That's because we could pay people less and less and less and less. Oh, I see what you're saying. As there's less people looking for those jobs. I just think that, and it is coming, Lance. I mean, it is. It's already in New York. It's already on the West Coast. I don't see it stopping, especially if the Democrats take.
Well, did New York crumble into oblivion because of it?
Well, New York has a much higher cost of living. I'm saying in the states like where I live, it's going to completely. I have no idea what the hell it would do. I would immediately quit my job and start working some someplace way easier. I mean, I can't even fathom what it's going to do.
I thought you had an amazing job though.
I do enjoy my job, Lance. But what I'm saying is, if I could go work someplace and not have to deal with the stress of not even the kids, but the parents of the kids, I would do it in a heartbeat. Because if you're just shelling out, I mean, because I'm very against $15 minimum wage. You know, some things I'm all across the board, and that's one where I think it's a terrible idea if you're going to do it everywhere. Because, like where I live, I mean, we have the lowest cost of living in America in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I live. It's like the second or third, and $15 minimum wage would completely. I have no idea. The outcomes would be mind-boggling to me. I can't even fathom it.
And do you think? I mean, and your little area of the world, that you're not the only spot in the world that's like the nation that's like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree.
And that's what I think is just. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're all over the place tonight. So I mean, but it's just, it's. You know what?
Forrest, you're breaking my capitalist heart. You're breaking it.
No, you know what? You know, like George Burns once famously said, "It's a damn shame that we elected all these politicians when all of these bartenders and taxi cab drivers have all the answers." So
I've got a question for you, Lance.
Yes.
Do you think eventually automation will replace most of the people in the grocery store?
No.
Most of the people, not all the people, but most of the people.
No.
They've already started rolling it out in Walmart.
I've answered. I've answered. Let me answer it again. No. You know why? Because there's too many different grocery stores. There's too many. It isn't like there's like, you know, one grocery store and that's the one that is at every single place. There's too many different grocery stores. There's too many different variables. There's too many different things going on. Plus, people want to see people. People want to walk into a place. They want to, you know, did you know, Forrest, that back in the day, like when you went to go buy groceries, you walked up to the grocer and you handed them a list and he went back, like you didn't even see any of the food. You walked into a room, there was a guy at a counter with a cash register. You handed him a list. He would take that list. He would take it back behind, like behind this door, and he'd bring up bags with everything that you wanted, and he'd say, "Okay, that's $7." You know.
And Lance, and here I want to say something that you've hit on a lot of times throughout the times we spent on this podcast. I think you're 100% wrong about what people want, and I think most people, especially younger people now, don't want that human contact. When I go to the grocery store, I don't want to speak to a damn person. I don't want anybody to look me in the eyes. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to go through that use scan.
That's because you're high. It's because you're high, and you think everybody else knows it.
No. Come on, Lance. Serious talk here.
I am being serious.
I think you underestimate the amount of people who do not want to talk to anyone when they go to Walmart, when they go to the grocery store, when they go here. Unless you're going to like a tool store or something. I think most people, especially younger people now, don't want to have those conversations. It's the reason why we don't talk on the phone anymore. It's the reason why Twitter is so popular and Snapchat, because we don't want to talk to people.
Maybe
we don't want to talk to our friends a lot of the times, much less a damn stranger. And I think you overestimate.
Let me talk. Okay.
Oh, let you talk. You're a hypocrite on that one.
So maybe it's like an Upper Midwest thing, but I mean, like when you walk into any store in Upper Midwest, the first thing that happens is that people, it doesn't matter who it is, everybody's talking. And seriously, like I'll walk down an alleyway and people will be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And like everybody's like that. Everybody, you live in my area? No.
I go to Wisconsin on a yearly basis, so I'm in that area once or twice a year. So I know exactly what you're talking about on that.
And it's just like, and that's everybody from like kids age 5 up to 80-year-old men. And it's just like, "Oh, cold day out today." Yeah, it sure is. And you have this little banal little conversation, and everybody has it. People like to talk to people. Maybe
in your area.
Well, you know what? That's what I have to go by. I'm not flying across the country to check different stats.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. I think this is like with the whole what we were talking about earlier with the culture with the men and the women and everything. I think you you don't realize that there is this.
Well, perhaps maybe you don't realize. Have you gone to California and just and paraded yourself around to grocery stores to see what level of interaction people are having? Have you gone to New York and checked it? Have you gone to Maine? Have you gone to Florida? No, you're talking about your spot. You're making an oversimplification and a decision that you know better.
I have done a good deal of traveling around the U.S., so yes, I will say that much.
So
Okay.
There's like
And do
3
you hear
states
a lot
I
of
haven't
people
been into,
when you
and one
go
of them is
places?
Alaska, and the other one's Hawaii. So don't fucking tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. People
what
like
I'm
to
saying
talk
is,
to
I think
people,
you underestimate the amount of people who don't want human contact.
and I think you overestimate how many people are disaffected and don't want to have any human contact. I think that's bullshit.
Okay, we will find out in the next decade, I think.
Oh, so 10 years from now, we won't be talking to anybody. We'll sit in our little cocoons and just text each other back and forth and wait for the tube to shove the food down our mouth that
Lance,
we
that's what
requested
teenagers
from.
do now, pretty much.
You know what, man?
And that's not a joke.
Well, you fine. You know, how many teenagers have you talked to in New York?
What? I haven't talked to that. Jesus Christ!
No, seriously. You're basing this off what? I mean, what? Have you done a study? Have you done a
I work with a lot of teenagers. I work with a lot of kids.
Okay,
in your area.
In your area, I'm asking you outside of your area. Like, how many kids have you spoken to? Have you worked with?
Not that many. I'll concede that, but I think at the same point, how many have you?
In my area, I do a gaming night at the local gaming store, and it's like 4 people that for people ages 12 to 18, and then everybody, and there's always new kids in there, and
that's also a very social hobby. I mean, I think.
So where are you going? Are you going to disaffected members of Generation Z and handing them an iPad when they walk in and wow, they're not talking to me?
I play about 10 to 12 hours of Xbox Live a week, and I talk to a lot of teenagers on there.
Oh, so let me get this straight. The people that are plugged into a video game don't want to have human contact. Well,
that's your sample. Yeah,
that's your sample size. You don't think that's skewed at all, Forrest?
I'm gonna introduce Anthony and say, "Hey, what's up, Anthony?" And let Anthony talk. But I'm gonna look at your number. I think you are severely underestimating a lot of things.
Well, but you understand how skewed that sample size is, right? You're talking about having a conversation with other people on Xbox Live that are probably stoned like you, eating Doritos like you, and just playing whatever game that you're doing. And it's just that's your sample.
Here we go. 97% of teenagers play video games. There's a slight gender divide. 99% of boys compared to 94% of girls. 50% of those teens said they played video games yesterday.
So
86% of those teens say they play video games on consoles, which would be the people I would be talking to, a large portion of them. I think you were severely underestimating.
But what does that mean? Does that mean that they don't like to talk to people? Does that mean they don't like to be in human contact?
It means they get that talking at home. It means that they don't have to go out and physically communicate.
That's a representation that doesn't prove anything. You're saying that they're playing video games, therefore they don't want to talk to other human beings.
I can't prove anything, Lance, but it's the same with dating websites. You know, when I first started, I had to go out to bars or get on Yahoo Chat, and then I got Plenty of Fish, and now it's Tinder. There's less and less and less communications on pretty much every single aspect of our life. Can you disagree with that? Can you think of one aspect where we talk more now, where the trend goes the other way, where we talk?
The only reason you talk more now is because
Google Hangouts.
Yeah, I will say this: the only reason is because of the fact that you have who's got the echo?
You do.
Is everybody on this podcast stoned? What's going on?
So here's the deal. When you have this and it's on your person, or within arm's reach, 24 hours a day, which a lot of people have, if not everyone, then you're going to have the vast majority of your interactions are going to happen, or more interactions are going to happen via your phone than others, just because I'm not next to my friends 24 hours a day personally. That does not mean that I am not wanting that interaction. That does not mean that isn't a preferable interaction. That does not mean that I don't want to do that. So for you to say that because we talk more on our phones, because we use our electronics more, because whatever, that's because it's there. It's there all the time. That does not mean that people do not crave that connection. That does not people don't want to have that conversation and do those things.
And I agree with you on this, but here's the thing that I think you're not considering is the fact, and I've seen this firsthand in a lot of kids, because they use those so much, and I myself have this issue personally, because they use those forms of communication and not face-to-face, eye contact interactions, they get worse and worse at having those conversations, which is exactly why when they go to the store, you see so many young people with earbuds in who do not want to talk, because they have not grown up having those conversations. Now, in your part of town, your part of the country, yes. And, you go to Tennessee, Kentucky, where I live, you'll see a lot more conversations. But when I go out, there is next to no one having conversations with each other that is not immediately necessary. Like, where are the youngins? Where is this? Where is that? I think as we continue to use our phones more and Xbox Live more and things like that, where we don't actually have to physically look at someone to talk to them, our social skills will continue to degrade, which means more people are going to not want to have to use these inferior social skills in public situations. I'm not talking about talking with our friends or anything. I'm talking about talking with the guy at the grocery store.
That's good for board gaming, if it's true.
I don't know. I just, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one. We'll have to revisit it in 10 years, and then when you'll have to say you were wrong. So,
all right, we'll have a beer over that.
What the hell did I walk in on?
You don't want to know.
Hey, it's the corrupt sausage vendor.
The corrupt sausage vendor.
Let's ask Anthony. How much do you think automation is going to impact, like grocery stores and taxi drivers and everything over the next 10 years?
Wait. Taxi drivers?
Well, yeah. There's once we have self-driving cars, I mean, there's no need for it. Well, the big one was we were talking about grocery stores, because Walmart has started to roll out robots that stock shelves. And I asked Lance, what percent do you think more people? Do you think, I don't remember exactly what the question was. I don't remember what the hell it was, but do you think there will be a lot of people, most people, more robots than people, or something like that?
So if you have a self-driving car for us, can't you just send it out and have it do Uber for you, and you just collect the money?
I think Uber is probably just going to have self-driving cars, period. They're going to collect all the money. But I remember, I think it was Domino's Pizza or something like that is experimenting with a self-driving car that literally takes away the driver and just delivers the pizza to you.
Yeah.
You don't think the business model is better for Uber to use people's cars that they own like they're doing now than to buy a fleet of millions of cars?
No, I don't. Over the long run, you got to look at this as a long-term financial picture. No, absolutely not.
No, I think you're wrong, because then they've got to maintain that huge of a fleet and turn it over. I don't think they want to be in that business. I think they like being in the business of just being an electronic middleman and taking a piece of every.
All right, you know what? I actually agree with you on that. But I think the company that does do that is going to dethrone Uber. The company that has the ability to get those cars relatively cheap. The company that maybe the
manufacturer. What I'm trying to say is you could be that person. Instead of sitting back and smoking pot and waiting for universal income, you could start that business and create jobs for people.
How is that creating jobs, having self-driving taxis?
Who's going to maintain the cars? Who's going to write the software? Who's going to test the software?
Who's going to clean the cars?
Who's going to clean the cars? Exactly. Who's going to gas them up? Who's going to clean the Doritos out of the back seat?
I just think automation is going to be big, and it's going to be big sooner rather than later.
It depends on what you think sooner is.
I'm talking about fast.
I will tell you right now. That once self-driving cars become a thing, people are going to hate having self-driving cars.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say that?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Horace, what's the speed limit in where you live?
Oh God, yeah, 35. Yeah, I got you there.
Okay, self-driving cars do not go over the speed limit.
I also think that, and this is a long ways out, I think cars are going to completely transform once self-driving cars. I think
They're
cars
gonna be Transformers.
No, I think they're going to turn things where you're going to be able to get business done, to work on things. I think they're going to become more mobile offices or mobile changing rooms, perhaps, or something like that.
So we can somehow pollute our time, our very, the whole idea of like the whole idea that every time-saving device we've ever created, it just eventually was just another way so we can cram more time, like more things into our day. It's like it's the exact opposite of the intent of the purpose. I hate that.
If you get self-driving cars, apps like games on phones are going to become even more popular. Mobile gaming is going to become more popular because people are going to have that dead time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, you know what? I'm officially becoming an old man.
Yeah, I feel like you're yelling at the cloud a little bit tonight.
Well, I'm not yelling at a cloud. I'm just yelling at how dumb this world is becoming slowly but surely. And that's fine. I can.
Would you not want a self-driving car?
I want to know when we can download our brains and put them in a new body. That's what I want to know.
That would be pretty amazing, but that's probably like 100 years off.
Like upgrade the body every couple of years, like we do with our phones. That would be cool.
I don't want a self-driving car. I don't even like being the passenger in a car.
Oh, I don't either. It just drives me crazy. And you know what I don't like? I don't like that I have to pay extra for an automatic transmission. Or for a manual transmission. Because I love driving. I love having a manual transmission car. And if you go in to go buy one, like if you want to buy a new car, it costs extra to get a manual transmission car.
It depends where you live. Kids don't like the manual transmissions because they don't know how to do them.
It depends where you live. Where I live, it's actually cheaper to buy a manual transmission.
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, it's cheaper where I live too.
Yeah, an automatic adds like $1,000 usually.
I can't even find one here.
My favorite car I ever had was manual. I love that car.
Is that what you named him?
What?
Is that what you named him? Manuel?
Yeah, manual.
Manuel.
Most people name their cars after women. I'm just saying. You do you.
All right, let's go to a more cheery route. Have you guys talked about the YouTube thing? You know, everybody's been fucking talking about. Oh my God, they're demonetizing everybody's videos who has less than 1,000 subscribers.
No,
I saw that was a lot of people were freaking out about that, especially the content creators.
Well, if you had less than 1,000 subscribers, how much were you making off of your videos anyway?
That's all I'm thinking I was on too.
I mean, it still sucks. I don't understand where I don't get it.
There's an uproar, Lance. It's a thing. I don't
understand.
You know what?
That's I used to be in tune with all the uproars, and I just don't even know about them anymore.
Why can't YouTube give all the content creators a universal income?
Yeah, Cheech, get on that.
Cheech, did you do your homework?
My homework? Oh yes. Yeah, it would benefit me.
Thank you.
And I'm not denying that, but we actually were just talking about that before that, about how it's borrowing $1.5 trillion, pulling it out of thin air, pretty much. I mean, I'm not arguing that it's good for me in the short term, but I try and look at things in the long term picture. I really do. I try as hard as I can, and it's not a good thing long term.
They're not pulling it out of the air. Your grandchildren will be paying for it.
Yeah, that's arguable because hell, we haven't paid our debts for the last forever. I mean,
well, that's because people don't pay their debts to us, so it's kind of like a circular thing.
You go talk to Zimbabwe about that, China. They got you.
I always wondered that. Couldn't all the countries just get together and have a summit and just decide to wipe out everybody's debt across the board?
No, are you kidding me? We can't even all decide to go green. There was what I think there was that one country that was like, no. We're not going
Oh, are
green
you
anymore.
honestly gonna like try to say we need to go green? And you
Well, I
do
think-
know, you do understand the inherent issue with that, right?
I personally am very anti-green, but I do like the idea of solar powering everything, wind powering everything.
Okay,
I
but you do understand that like that costs a lot of money, right?
It does, but it's
Okay.
also a long-term versus short-term thing. I mean, there's a reason most of the world is doing it. It's because it's financially sound in the long term, just like
But-
focusing on education is.
But you also
just-
do realize that like there are countries that haven't really truly gone through their industrial revolution,
Yes,
and so they haven't really become self-sufficient in like economic powers. So for us to step in and say, hey, you need to stop burning that coal, is like, oh well, but our people are starving, and this way we can actually like have a GNP. And no, sorry, you're just going to starve. Let's think about the ozone layer.
no. That's not what the agreement
The
was.
ozone layer is
It was
actually
just
gotten
every
smaller.
country is going to try.
I know. I'm being.
Lance, are you against going green just in America, spending the probably trillions of dollars to start?
I
Going green in
am
America?
all for people doing whatever makes them happy, and it's just.
That's not what I asked at all.
Well, you asked me what and that means if going green makes you happy, I think you should do it.
No, that's not what I asked at all. I asked as the country as a whole, are you against wind, solar powers, like spending the billions and trillions of dollars that would cost to do that?
It really depends. I mean, it
Clearly, again, I think the free market has to do it. Like, one thing I actually really was excited about with Obama the second time he ran was his promise of the new green economy, like investing in all those technologies and creating all those jobs. And it never happened. Like, where is it? Where's that green economy we were promised? Like, even with all the money and time and political pressure, nothing ever materialized. Why?
Oh, wait, let me get this straight. He ran as a progressive and ended up being kind of like just a moderate conservative kind of thing. Wow, stunning. He said exactly what he needed.
Lance strikes again. Who here is defending Obama?
Well, no, I'm just saying. It's just like, man, it's one
I'm
of
not
those
saying
things.
that, Lance. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just wondering about that one specific thing. Like, I remember that one campaign promise that perked my ears up and got me excited, but it never happened.
Politicians are garbage.
Well, here's the thing. I think part of it. I think it's going to be once the price drops, then it's going to be big. I think a lot of the stuff Tesla's doing is going to be huge for solar panels and solar power in general, and electric power.
But again, that's the free market driving that. Like, not
Yeah, I'm not against.
government can't do it for some reason.
Tax the fuck out of them.
Yeah,
How much will the universal income be taxed?
What? I have no idea.
you just
I
want
don't
the
know the
money.
logistics of this. I just want free money, and I legitimately do think it would be better for the majority of Americans. Not all of them, and not everybody gets it. If you have a job, then you don't get it for the most part, unless you hit a certain threshold.
Are
But I'm
you
just saying-
crazy? That's crazy. How is that gonna? That is gonna totally de-incentivize like
Because
the bottom
people have money to
20%
spend.
of the country.
Yes,
Not to
yes,
lay
it will.
around and do nothing.
You are always going to have that bottom 20% of the country. I am that. I rode unemployment for as long as I possibly could. I stand that system. But you know what? I got my associate's degree because of it. And I worked myself out of that pit. And yes, you will have some of those people who will never work themselves out of the pit, and who don't want to work themselves out of the pit. But you always are going to have those people. But most of the people do not want to suck the teat for that long. Most of the people are going to realize, man, this kind of sucks. I'm not actually making that much money. I can't go on vacation. I can't buy an iPhone. I can't buy an Xbox, because this is enough money to live and feed your family. Like, people
But
talk
here's
about
the
universal
problem is
basic
people-
income like you're going to get a Benz. It's
Here's
not
the
that.
people. The problem with that though is people will have the Xbox and the iPhone and won't feed their kids. That's the problem.
Yes, and there's nothing you can do about those people. I work with a lot of those people. Well, not my coworkers, but I work with low-income kids. So I know that there's those people. I know there's the people who skim the system and drive super nice cars and have super nice clothes, and their kids come in dirty clothes and not fed. I know that those people, but you can't say no, we can't do this because of those people. I mean, that's just my opinion, but there's always going to be people like that. There's no way around it. And I probably, if you gave me universal basic income, I'd probably be one of those people. I'd make the money off the YouTube, whatever pennies that was, dollars that was, $100 here or there, and then I would just ride universal basic income. But that's actually kind of what it's supposed to be.
Dare to dream, Forrest.
Well, here's the thing. That's actually kind of what it's for. I'm trying. Because
your big dreams are so inspiring. I'm having a hard time handling it.
To spend a lot of time with my kids while they're young and not have to work. Yeah, I mean that.
Well, who's going to do the work then? If no one's, you're going to sit home and not work.
Robots, weren't you listening?
Yes, robots will do the work.
So your robots will be teaching your children.
Well, we talked about that. Some professions obviously are going to be much more difficult.
Why not? Everything you need to know is on the internet.
Yeah, but you have to have the intrinsic. You have to give the kids the motivation to actually care about that.
Well, what robots can't have like colored pictures and sounds and
I would
spit
watch
candy out?
I would let a robot teach me trigonometry again. That would be interesting.
And Anthony, your sausage business is gone. All robots.
Oh, yeah, I can't compete with the universal.
Well, you're also arguing against the fact that you don't think that automation is going to take over. Because yes, as much as I hate to say it, a robot could do my job, and most likely you would lose out on a lot, but you'd also gain a lot. A robot could do most of our jobs. It really could. Right now.
Well, not Barry's job, because they would just like stiffen up all the time.
That's true.
I don't think a robot can sit in a lazy boy and smoke all day.
Is that your job, Barry?
No, I feed the cats.
How did you get that big?
He got himself all screwed up medically from work.
Oh,
I destroyed my back.
He's in constant and debilitating pain.
Yes.
That's not a very good trade-off.
We could not do that.
Yeah, it wasn't a good trade-off. Only I knew then.
You wouldn't have paid those three guys with the bat in the alleyway to do a number on you.
So there you go, Forrest. We could come over and break your back. You'd be all set.
All right, let's go back to the free market. If I am a billionaire and I have so much money that I don't know what to do with it, and I own a Walmart or a Target or something like that, why am I not firing a large majority of my people and replacing them with robots that will do that same job for free for a very long time? Obviously, you have to upkeep them and you have to hire technicians and programmers and whatnot, but one programmer can program a large chunk of those robots. Why am I not doing that? Explain to me in the free market sense why I do not do that. If I'm
all right, I'll explain it to you. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
So in the neighborhood I used to live in, there were these guys from Yemen who came and bought the it was like we used to call them a candy store, but it was like they sold newspapers and candy and cigarettes and that stuff.
Like a bodega?
Yeah, kind of like a bodega. So they ended up buying the store next door to it, and they expanded, and they made it a little grocery store, and they opened a deli counter. And my brother had his office upstairs from them. Really nice guys. And they always asked my brother, what he thought of things. And I was there that one day, and he was talking about opening this deli counter. And he said, "You have any advice?" And my brother and I both said, "Hire a bunch of Italian kids to work the counter." Why? Because the old ladies who live in the neighborhood would come in and buy the stuff if they were Italian kids behind the counter.
Right.
Not because they were robots behind the counter or they were just nice people behind the counter, but because they were Italian kids behind the counter. And they'd say, "Oh, there's Italian kids work there. I'm going to go there and buy my cold cuts." All right. And that's the reason why Walmart is not going to have robots going around greeting you at the door. That's why they hire those little people at the front door to say hello to you. Because people want to see people.
Okay.
All right. McDonald's by my office put in the kiosks. Got rid of half the staff, the kiosks. I go in there like every other week, one day I go in for lunch, and literally people don't go up to the kiosk. They still go to the counter to talk to the person.
Okay.
Because people like that interaction with a person. They feel they're being treated better because it's another human being who they believe will be sympathetic if they have an issue. They'll be empathetic to them.
So here's my question. Let's say they get rid of all those employees and they only have kiosks. Do you think that there will be a large portion of people who will stop going to that McDonald's?
Yeah.
Really?
And here's the deal: who's cooking the food?
There's no reason for them to get out of the car at that point. They get out of the car and go in and talk to somebody. You know, they go in and you see someone. I have a question. You know, when I'm in a store and I don't know, and I'm not sure about something, I pick out my phone and I go online and look it up. But some people don't know don't do that. Don't think to do that. They need to speak to someone. They need to see another person. Someone who has a trusting face, who is going to get them, the opinion on something or tell them where something is, and that's why these companies hire these people. It's because people want to see other people. Otherwise, you'd sit at home and just order it online.
Okay. Well, I'll stick with that example, and let's just say that they cut half the people. And if every McDonald's in America eventually did that, that would put roughly 500,000 people out of jobs in one fast food chain. Other companies see that is working for them. They're making a lot of money. They still have people. They still have the automation. The Wendy's starts doing that. Other companies start doing that. And eventually, we have a lot of people without jobs.
But you'll also find people who will say, well, you know what? I'm going to go down the street to Bob's Burger place, and I'll pay $1 extra for my burger, and I'll get to see so-and-so, someone at the counter.
Who's going to want to go to a bar and not talk to the bartender and drink their beer?
Because, well, I don't know. I come at it from different. When I went to the bar, I tried to get laid. Or talk to my friends. I really didn't talk to the bartender that much ever.
Are robots going to take that over for you, too?
They actually just introduced the first male sex robot. I saw that on Futurology on Reddit. Yeah, it's a real thing. You can get a male sex robot. So yeah, I guess.
But the question is, will universal income be able to pay those male sex robot payments?
No, they won't, because I think
cover it.
Most people think universal basic income is so glamorized because they think you're going to be living the same life you're living and not working, whereas it's actually going to be a much less glamorous life. You're going to have enough money to get by and to scrape by, and most people don't realize that. I do realize that, and I'd still be fine because then I'd get to quit my job and spend way more time with my family.
But okay, hold on. Let's back up again. So explain to me exactly how much is universal income.
It is going to vary from location to location. We've already talked about this. You obviously, and we talked about that with the $15 minimum wage. You can't make it a flat. You can't make it a flat thing. It just won't work, period. You have to do it by location by location. Because I talked about how much I do not like the idea of a $15 minimum income, because $15 where I live completely transforms everything, It
does, but what you're missing, you're right. It's going to transform lots of things, right? Like retail's dying, Amazon's taking over. In my town, I've seen stores die and go away, but they've built a huge Amazon distribution center, right? So old jobs go away, but new jobs are created as technology pushes forward.
And you don't think Amazon's eventually going to have that all automated? There's no reason that Amazon...
Most of it is automated now. They have most of it automated now.
Okay, and why
they still need hundreds of people there, too. It's not automated off the trucks, right?
Not yet.
You still got customers.
Domino's can do it. Why the hell can't Amazon do it? I mean, I don't know how the hell they're getting pizzas to people's doors automated, but I mean, they're working on it now.
Well, I can tell you it's a huge building and it's a huge parking lot, and it's filled with people there with a new job. Like, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars just in my little area. They're building these all over the country, right? So jobs are transforming. They're not going away. They are transforming into new kinds of jobs, which is good. There will be more jobs for creative people. There will be more jobs where we're designing things, coming up with ideas. A lot of these low-level jobs will be automated, but that's a good thing. That's happened for all of eternity. Since we started progressing as human beings, older technologies go away. They're replaced by new ones that make us more efficient and free up our time to work on bigger and better things.
Yes, they make us more efficient, but we're getting to the point now where they replace us. And I think that's the huge difference.
Are there robots building the robots?
Eventually, why could there not be?
It's humans. Oh my god.
But who is building the robots that build the robots?
Humans will do that, and you're going to need programmers who will do that. But how many programmers are you going to need based... I mean, if you could get one programmer to make an assembly line that does all the work by itself, you completely take away everyone off those assembly lines. Like factory work. I worked in a factory. I've worked in factories before. I hated it. It was terrible. But there is no reason that you could not get that completely automated. There is zero reason why you could not have them do completely automated and do it more efficiently and do it 24 hours a day. The job that I did was printing and manufacturing credit cards, and I did 3 different positions at that company, and I got raises because I started to do more and more and more. And each and every job that I did could have been replaced by a computer now. Easily replaced by a computer. And if you hire, say, 2, 3, 10 people to program those machines and make those machines do the thing, and you're willing to pay that upfront massive cost, because it would be an upfront massive cost, you're going to have to hire 10, 15, 20 employees instead of 60 or 70 employees, and that's just in one factory. I mean, it's coming. It's coming. You laugh, but you know that
it's not coming. It's not coming for us.
It's capitalism, baby. It's capitalism. Those rich want to get richer, and hiring robots, if they look at it from the long-term picture, is how to get richer.
I agree with Forrest. I agree it's coming. I don't think it's coming as fast as you think.
You're both
but I agree it's coming. No, I mean the manufacturer. Look at the car assembly lines and all that. They've already been taken over by robotic arms and all that. You know, the lower level, manufacturing stuff's coming. With robots, I agree with that.
I'll put it like this also. You know how many times I've had screw-ups because of something at the U-Scan? It's minimal. You know how many times I've had screw-ups because somebody at the grocery store doesn't know what the hell they're doing? It's a lot. I mean, it's just going to transform. It's going to be, it might be slow, but it's happening.
All right. So, okay, let's go back to the universal income thing.
Okay.
All right. So what's going to prevent me from using my in-laws' address in New York to get the higher rate and then moving to somewhere where it's much cheaper to live?
I have no idea. I mean, that's a logistical thing, but that's what we're talking about. There's always going to be people who scam the system. And I honestly, brutal honesty, I would probably try to be one of those people. I mean, there's always going to be those people, but the majority of people are not those people. The majority of people are good, hardworking people who would much rather try to dig themselves out of a crappy life working at McDonald's or a factory or at a grocery store or whatever job they have, some meaningless job that they hate going into, would rather go to college or something like that. I mean, yes, there's going to be people who scam the system, but I don't think it's the majority of people.
The majority of the people who would sign up for it, who would be qualified for it.
The large chunk of the people who would qualify for it are people who just don't have jobs. So yeah.
So we're going to pay them a salary to not work.
The hope is that a lot of the people are people who are living poor. The people that are just getting by paycheck to paycheck or not even getting by, running up credit card debt. with this, hopefully they would be able to pursue endeavors that they were not able to do before. It's the principle of unemployment. It's there to help you get back on your feet. And universal basic income is not supposed to be something that, for most people, it's not supposed to be something that you live on for the rest of your life. I think with automation, it eventually will be. It's there to try and help you to better yourself. You know, for me personally, to use an example, it'd be so I can focus on my YouTube channel, or pulling my kids out of school so I can homeschool them or something like that, which would in turn hopefully make my life better. You know, it's not supposed to be a lifetime thing.
I don't know. I think it makes people dependent. It's not going to motivate them to do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
It's going to do the opposite.
I agree. For a lot of
You
people,
even said it yourself that you want it so you can quit your job and not do anything.
Bingo. Love it. But I also, at the same point, I feel like once you get a taste of what you're getting, which is the bare minimum, just living life and living paycheck to paycheck, literally, but with the universal basic income thing, I think people are eventually going to want more. I really do. Which is where I like free college and all that stuff, but that's a completely different topic.
So if not making it without universal income hasn't motivated them to want more, how is giving them money going to motivate them to want more?
Because hopefully they will pursue a passion project. Because my wife has told me this many times, I'm not like most normal people. Whereas most normal people, if they sit home every single day and don't do anything, they get bored out of their damn mind and they want to do something. And if you don't have the money to do something, then hopefully that will be the intrinsic motivation to get them to, you know, fix their life, get a better job, get a college degree, you know, learn a craft or a trade. I mean,
but if everyone's sitting at home doing nothing, they can all sit at home and do nothing together, and now they're doing something.
I think that is an unintended side effect. I agree.
Now, Forrest, you just said something that was pretty interesting that made me think a little bit differently on this. So if they're on a universal basic income, it gives them the time to work on maybe some creative project.
Yes.
Right? That's a different kind of idea and a pretty cool one, I think. Like, I have no problem with the government giving seed money to people to be entrepreneurial, to create something, to try and start something, and let them live on that to get that going, because that can turn into something that can create jobs and help the economy down the road, right? But that's different than just giving everybody money. Right? Well, that's a different kind of program.
If you talk with a lot of people who are not as bluntly honest as I am, that's what most of them will point to. This is going to create more jobs because more people will be at home doing those creative endeavors, which will then inevitably lead to businesses, which will create jobs. I'll be bluntly honest and say a lot of people
instead of just giving out income, why can't we say we're going to give entrepreneurs a 3-year seed money, and here's the milestones that they have to hit, and if they hit them all, they'll get more money after 3 years to continue to grow their business until they're on their own.
I would be very for that idea. I mean, I'm not against that idea. I just think that with automation coming, it's I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to lose jobs, and I think it's going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years, and there's going to be millions upon millions of people who lose jobs. And it's going to be the people who can't afford to lose jobs because they don't have the skills to go get better jobs. I mean, Anthony said it. And you know, obviously this was a guesstimate, but half the people at his McDonald's got fired. They got fired. They got let go. They got unemployed. They can ride unemployment for what, 12 months, 16 months? And then what are they going to do? Most of them probably don't have college degrees. Go work at a grocery store where inevitably automation is once again going to cut out, 33%, half of where they work. I mean, if you think Walmart is going to give a shit about any of those people and not the bottom line, you're kidding yourself. They might keep the old lady up there.
I don't know. Didn't Walmart just raise their wages like just last week for every single low-end employee to $11?
Well, I imagine that was from years of backlash. I mean, they had to deal with a lot. They've had a lot of PR problems, but they also just unveiled in certain locations automation, stocking automation, which means they're going to be, if that goes well, firing a lot of those same people. And yes, they can afford to give everybody $1 raise if you're firing a large chunk of the people.
I think it was more than $1 raise. I think it was pretty significant.
But see, here's the thing for us, though. Like, remember, Lance was talking about a story about what place he used to work. You never walk into a Walmart and there's only 3 people working in the entire store because they're short-staffed. So the person who's making the minimum wage, who, finds a better job somewhere, somebody else comes along and fills their spot. There's plenty of people out there who will work at Walmart for whatever Walmart pays.
Yes.
So there's no reason for them. Yes, you can automate certain things. Okay, but there's no reason for them to go and spend billions of dollars on these robots when they can just keep paying the minimum wage.
No. And here's the thing. Minimum wage, and I actually just looked at that, and I did not know it was that much. They raised it to $11, which hats off to them. It's great. But here's the thing. You can easily have robot automation doing that job for way cheaper in the long term than $11 an hour. You got to realize that automation is going to work 24 hours a day. You're going to make that money back in spades in less than 5 years, just from keeping those machines up and running. And yes, you have to pay the people to do that. But that's going to be a lot less people across the board than the people you're paying $11 an hour for now. I mean, I think, as crazy as it is coming from me, I think you're not looking at it enough in the capitalism sense. This is a way to make tons and tons and tons of cash. I mean, as much as you say people like the human interaction at a Walmart, most of the people who shop at Walmart are not going to Walmart because they love to go to Walmart. They're going to Walmart because they got the best prices. And I tell you what, when they're going to be able to lower those prices even more with the automation because they're not having to pay the employees, which means it's going to put even more people out of business, which means there's going to be less places to go. I think it's a domino effect. As bad as it is, as bad as it sounds.
The thing is, Walmart's pricing is all based on the people's items they sell there. You know that, right?
No, I did not.
Okay, so Walmart basically says, okay, we have a grocery section. We want to stock ketchup. Heinz, we want your 12-ounce bottle. We want to sell it for $1.15. Which means we're going to buy it for 42 cents. And Heinz goes, well, we can't sell it to you for 42 cents. And they go, well, we're not carrying Heinz. They set the price. They go to every single item that they have, with the exception of their own brands, and they tell them, oh, you want to come into Walmart? All right. That thing, what do you normally charge for that? $3? All right, we're going to charge $1.75 for it at Walmart. And we're buying it at 40% of that. And people sell it to them because they buy so much of it. But that's how they beat all the other stores' prices. They don't sit there and go, everyone likes Heinz. Because if Heinz said, no, screw you, there'll be no Heinz at Walmart. And they don't care. And everything that's sold at Walmart goes to those companies and says, if you want to be in our store, this is what we're paying for, and this is what we're charging for it. So you talk about like the board game thing with devaluating prices and everything. You know, if Asmodee wanted to go into Walmart is going to say, oh, that game's $60. We're going to sell it for $40. And we're going to buy it for $20.
Okay.
And we'll buy 50,000 copies of it.
Right. But that's the thing. They're buying ridiculous amounts of it.
But Walmart is still competing with Amazon, and they're still competing with Target. And if they're going to have this extra capital because they're not paying employees and they're having automation, then that's going to force Target and Amazon, to a lesser extent, to go to automation as well in order to compete with Walmart, which means more jobs are going to be lost. It's the same way with all the fast food chains. You know, if this is a booming success for McDonald's and they roll it out all over the country, which I think they obviously will because it's probably making them money, then other places are going to be forced to do that because McDonald's, most likely, now that they have this extra capital, is going to try to drive other people out of business because that's what they do by lowering their prices ever so slightly. It's
They didn't lower their prices.
Not yet.
No, they actually raised their prices, McDonald's.
Really? Did they?
Yes. Because they still have to pay the actual people they have there, the $15 an hour.
Oh, so what you're saying is they need to fire those people, go complete automation, and then they can lower the prices. What are you sighing for? That's the realistic answer to the question.
Right, but a kiosk where you put your order in is basically the same register that the person who took your order was using. It's just a bunch of buttons. You press it, you put your card in, and it gives you the receipt. Okay, but the robot you have to build to make the burgers and the fries and assemble all of them is totally different than the ordering kiosk.
Yes. I agree. I think you're looking at this as a small sample size. I'm talking about once they start doing this nationwide, once they start making these more cheaply and more efficiently because they're doing on a mass scale. I mean, it just makes sense. If
it doesn't make it cheaper to do it somewhere else. In Bumblefuck, Arkansas, it doesn't matter if they have people working there paying their minimum wage, because the price of the McDonald's burger is the same price there as it is, in Danbury, Connecticut. But they're paying those people less money. So there's no reason to put the kiosk in there, because we can continue to pay them $8 minimum wage in Arkansas or whatever.
See, and I completely disagree. I mean, you have to pay, assuming the McDonald's open 24 hours a day, you have to pay $8 an hour for 24 hours forever. Forever, instead of just automating that, paying that lump sum up front, and then eventually starting to get green and being in the green all over the place.
Well, McDonald's is a bad example because the majority of the stores aren't owned by McDonald's anyway.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Let me ask you a question. It's a fast food restaurant, completely automated. Who's cooking the burger?
The robot. It's going to drop the burger.
I'm asking for it. Who's cooking the burger?
Yeah, automation.
Okay,
you're making it sound like this.
No. Okay, fine. So I order my food. I want a quarter pounder with cheese, just ketchup. Hey, mine's got pickles on it. I don't want this. Where do I go?
All right, you got 2 people running the whole store. The rest is all automation. You still are firing 5 people per hour, every hour that you are open.
My point is that there's always going to be a reason why you're going to need people at the store, and I don't care where you are. You're going to have full automation. And then as long as there's people at the store, there's going to be something there for them to do. And as long as there's something for them to do, there's going to be something more for them to do. You're never going to have a situation where you are going to be able to get rid of this 95% of the human beings.
Okay, I'm going to go with something that I think Anthony might have some experience with, which is you have a button you hit, and that button instantly teleports you to someone in a call center, probably in India or somewhere like that, where they say, hey, this is the issue I'm having at this location, and that person hits a button on the computer, tells the robot to spit out another quarter pounder, and you've essentially taken away that human interaction. I mean, yes, you're still going to have to have.
So what prevents me from just lying and I get another quarter pounder then?
Honesty, I guess. I mean, I would be the guy lying about the quarter pounder, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because everybody's gonna be like, yeah, it was broken. Oh, this one didn't work either. Yeah, this one didn't work either. This one didn't work either. We got enough yet? No, that one's still wrong.
There's plenty of YouTube videos tell you how to get free stuff out of vending machines. Just letting you know. So.
Okay, Lance, I will even concede the full automation part. But if you still replace 50% of the people in those locations, you have a massive unemployment problem.
No, you don't. We had this automation explosion before, Forrest. It was called the Industrial Revolution. You may have heard of that. Did that
That's
lead to
apples
more
to
jobs,
oranges,
or
though.
did that lead to less jobs? All those basket makers, all those cobblers, all those weavers, they
the
all lost their
cobblers.
jobs. Right?
Just-
They
Sorry,
did.
somebody just said cobblers in a sexy voice, which was weird.
All those buggy whip makers, that handcrafted beautiful leather buggy whips, all those jobs are gone. So yes, jobs are going to go away, but new stuff is going to come. More stuff.
And I think that automation is going to be able to do most of that more stuff. I mean, that's just what I'm saying. Like, the automation is getting so good that I think it's going to replace nearly everything.
But
But
it's
you're saying everything. You're talking about stuff that hasn't even been invented yet. So it can't replace the stuff that hasn't even been
he's
invented.
a futurist.
I am. I am 100% a futurist. I don't disagree with that. And I think it's a really good contrast because most of you guys, I'm not saying this is a bad way, are not. I think it provides a nice balance.
Well, yeah, because sorry.
Oh, here we go.
Because we're sane and you're nuts.
Well, I mean, it's when you spend most of your time in your basement getting high, of course your mind's gonna wander and like, oh, what if my weed robot could be here right now?
What if this planet is just another molecule in some other atom?
Some other atom. Just this universe is just one tiny atom in a giant's fingernail.
I mean, just look at this industry. Just look at the board game industry. How many people work in this industry now that didn't really even exist 10 years ago? Independent board game design and publishers didn't really exist like it does now 20 years ago.
It's that damn automation.
But here's the thing. The majority of the jobs in the board game industry are people who manufacture the games. Like, if you looked across the board at everything, the majority of the people are going to be those people that work in factories. And those people who work in factories are easily replaceable, which will drive down the cost of manufacturing.
Not when you pay them 3 cents an hour, they're not.
Okay, well, I'm talking about mostly in America, but yes, that's a fair point. If we're talking about factories over in Indochina or wherever, yes, that's a completely different.
Where they're chained to their location.
That's a completely different beast. I like how you joke about that, Lance. I'm sure that's probably actually a thing somewhere.
Chained to their location.
Well, I'm sure it is. I'm not joking. It's hideous. But you know what? I don't see anybody But we love paying $6 for a T-shirt, so I don't see anybody saying we need to maybe change things over there.
Hell yeah! No, that's why I love Walmart. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, no. See, those are the things that drive me crazy. Is that like we have all these things. We all want to fix the problems. We all want to fix the problems that are right there in front of us. But like when it comes down to like the really tough ones, where like personal sacrifice will have to come into play, where it's like, all right, so now you can't get a package of 3 boxer briefs for $8. You're gonna have to pay $36. But this means that the people working in the factory in Singapore can actually have a living wage and they don't have to work 18 hours a day. Whoa! I still want my $2 underwear. Can't we figure out some way? Nobody wants to do the tough stuff. Nobody wants to make the hard sacrifice. And
Lance, I got something for you that you're gonna hate. Automation is that. Automation's the answer.
Well,
you want those 3 cent employees.
You're not gonna. But the thing is that then they're not gonna have anything.
No, they won't. But I'm not your typical bleeding heart, leftist. I don't care about anybody outside of the country, pretty much. I mean, yes, I hope they all live and prosper, but for the most part, I only care about people in our country. That's a Republican in me, I guess.
It's very bigly of you.
I'll be brutally honest with you. I mean, one thing, I'm very honest about most things, and I mean, I don't think we should give a damn about anybody in any other countries unless they're planning on bombing us. We need to focus on all the problems we got before we start worrying about anything anywhere else.
Okay, Donald.
Yeah.
I still would love to visit those countries. Don't get me wrong, and spend my dollar, which is
Even
if they have weed.
Lance vastly overestimates what I do with my spare time. He likes to paint caricatures of what I do.
Caricatures. What are you, Bill Cosby there for a moment? You put the thing in
You
the
got probably
stove.
put it pops.
And he's sitting there smoking it like, do it.
All right. Well, it's getting late. We should probably wrap up. Good conversation, though, Forrest.
Yeah, it was nice to join you hippies. It was very interesting.
Somebody, hey Robert, when's your next big game, man?
This one is gonna be in the port. Rolf, it's in the port in Florida next week, so that'll be shipping out. It's a party game where you come up with crazy phrases, so it's pretty fun. So that's coming out.
When is your ultra dirty version of Cards Against Humanity cards gonna come out?
Never.
Oh my God, that's
private.
That was I am so glad that I was allowed to. I mean, I'm not a big Cards Against Humanity guy, but that was I don't know. Did you just have the most filthy minded human beings of all time, like meet in a group and then just?
Yep, you were part of that group.
Well, no, I mean that was. God, that was a good night at Dice Con. There was a lot of beer, and there was a lot of liquor, and there was a lot of really, really dirty human beings.
That was a private game that will not be published, but Rolf is coming out, and Doppelganger is going to be out with WizKids in May, and Overpowered
do I have to
Arena.
sign some paperwork for that?
What's that?
For Doppelganger, do I have to sign a release?
No.
You are the
Anthony is card and
sausage
Doppelganger. He is the corrupt sausage vendor, holding a big string of
The
sausages.
sausage monger, I think it's that.
It's just like, what the hell? When you show me that picture, I couldn't stop laughing.
Didn't he say something like, "Am I that fat?" or something?
I was like, wow, everyone's getting a card but me. And he's like, wait, I got one for you.
The corrupt sausage. What was my card? I don't even remember what it was.
Oh, you're the Viking with the big battle axe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Really studly.
You're the Viking with the battle axe. I'm the sausage monger.
The corrupt sausage.
Yeah, it's funny. So it's worth picking up when it comes out just to see that card.
It's funny because it's true. He is a corrupt sausage monger. Oh, all right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, listening to the wild and rampant futurist. That could be. We're gonna have a half hour of going into the future.
Can I be the token futurist going forward?
Well, sure, but I mean, are you gonna
I'm
get
a capitalist futurist. Really,
There you go.
that have heart.
There you go.
When the robots come and eat you up and shit you out.
Yes.
And one lonely man living on universal income has to fight just to survive.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well,
Robot-made Doritos don't taste the same.
no, they don't.
Oh, they're going to taste horrible. It's going to be a hellish future.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Love
Good
you.
night.
Later.